Welcome, everybody, to today's webinar. We're going to be talking about how to become a fearless listing machine this year. We want you to get a lot from today's webinar. So what you can do is you can use that Q&A panel there or take notes, great notes, and use that Q&A panel there to ask any questions you might have. Don't stress out if we don't ask your question right away. We are going to be taking those at the end.
Sorry, Julie.
That's okay.
Yep, we just
lost our PowerPoint.
Yep, we just have
on.
Yep. Sorry, Jules.
That's okay. Like I said, we are going to use that Q&A panel. If you can stick around after the hour, we will be here to answer any questions you might have and do some coaching as well. If you want to reach us at any time after today's webinar, you can reach us on all social media channels at Darryl Speaks. Darryl's the author. He's testing me this morning. He's the author of 3 books, all published by McGraw-Hill Publishers. That first one you see, How to Become a Power Agent in Real Estate, is actually one of the best-selling books to real estate agents on Amazon. Darryl was named as one of the top real estate newsmakers in the influencer category by Risk Media Magazine this year. It's 3 years running. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
He's also the recipient of the coveted CSP designation, which is only given to less than 2% of speakers worldwide. On that note, coach and speaker and leader, Darryl Davis, take it away.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. So good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We're very excited that you're here. Couple of things I want to cover. First of all, some of you may be new to this weekly webinar, so I just want to cover this one question, which is this webinar a sales pitch? I think we've all experienced that at some time. We go to something and that's not what we thought we were going to get. So that's not the case here. This is not a sales pitch at all. Everybody's going to get a tremendous amount of value. I do want, for the sake of transparency, though, for you to understand that there's 2 types of people on this group. There's on this call. This is part of our weekly training that we do for our power agents. Power agents are people who are in our monthly training program. And some of you on this call are guests. So we're really excited and happy the guests are here. The reason why I'm sharing that up front is because from time to time, guests, I'll be speaking to the power agents, our members, and referencing maybe something on the website to help them in their business. So I just want you to know that that will happen during our time together. But regardless, you're going to get a tremendous amount from this webinar. Now, just real quick to talk to the guests, just so they understand what a power agent is. That is our monthly membership. We locked a low price for people at $47 a month. There's no contract during this pandemic time. But if you're a guest and you want to become a power agent, or at least try it for 30 days, you can for $5, and you have complete access to everything, the websites, the recordings, the handouts. You know, you're a full-fledged power agent. You can cancel anytime. We don't do long-term contracts. And there's a tremendous amount of bonuses today. And I will say everything that's on the screen, if you're a guest, you'll be able to get this. It gets emailed to you right away, you know, for just the $5. So it's a little bit of an enticement, which is pretty awesome. I will say this. As far as these bonuses to the guests, these 2 are very time sensitive. One is your business plan, which covers 3 business plans in the one. It's over 40 pages. How to generate now business, how to generate future business, and how to generate financial freedom. And then the predictions that we do every year, it's really designed to use as an objection handling with a buyer or seller when a buyer says, I want to wait, or a seller says, I want to wait. So it's really cool. And there's one other thing. We just launched our first Power Agent magazine, a printed version, but we have a digital version as well. And it's 43 pages and it's loaded with really great content where people are loving the magazine. All right. With that said, let's get into this webinar. Now, these weekly webinars that I do, some of them go really wide where I'll cover a little bit of several things. And then there's some webinars where I'll go really super deep, like how to do the listing appointment, how to present offers, how to get buyer agency agreements from your buyers. Those are specific deep topics. Today's topic is why, because I'm going to cover several things. One of them is we're going to talk about getting super organized. And the reason why is because when it comes to building inventory, if you are not organized, okay. Oh, no, really? Okay. So we have a tech problem. Jeez. Okay. Julie, I'm gonna have to change.
What was that?
I'm gonna have to change my mic. So
Okay.
hang on one second. Everybody just stay right there.
All right. We need some elevator music.
Julie, can you see me and hear me?
I can see you and hear you.
And is the mic working better now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, gang. Sorry about that. We're having fun today, aren't we?
All right, we're rocking, we're rolling.
All right.
The arms are all moving around.
So thanks for that, Sarah. So getting back to what I was saying, the reason why this is so important as far as getting super organized in your business is because if we're going to talk about becoming listing machines, if we're distracted by things, it'll prevent us from being effective. So I'm going to share with you how to get super organized. That's number one. Number two, we're going to talk about mastering the telephone, how to have a breakthrough in the telephone, because to me, that is the quickest way for you to generate listing inventory. The third is how to master the listing conversation. I'm going to give you some really powerful techniques to help you get better, especially when you're talking to for sale owners and expireds. Some marketing ideas beyond just the telephone. We're not going to go deep on marketing because we're going to do a whole hour just on marketing, but I'm going to share some of my favorite stuff with you that you can implement right away. And also the importance of having a support structure to help you stay focused. Now, but before we get into those 5 things, I want to spend 60 seconds to give you a market update as to what's happening, why this topic is so important. So if any of us got distracted at any point during this session, let's focus now, because this is really important what I'm going to share with you. I'm going to show 3 things to you. One is the buyer conversation, seller conversation, and then I want to talk to you directly and why this topic is so important. You know, as far as what's happening in the market, I want to show you something. When a buyer says to you they want to wait right now, what we need to be telling our buyers is interest rates are going up. If you just look at what's happening to the 30-year more, well, all of it, right? All the interest rates, they are going up. And I just want to give you a little schooling here. When you look at charts and how to read charts, charts usually will hit a floor. When it hits a floor, like a ball that bounces and it hits the floor, the ball, remember those super balls that we played with as a child? When you throw that ball down, it goes up. And that's what happened a few years ago. When we hit a floor, we saw interest rates go up. If you look at what's happened in the economy, what's happening with inflation, interest rates are starting to go up. And I suggest, and what we need to tell our buyers, it is in an upward motion here. It's not going to come back down anytime soon. There's a good chance over the next year, we could be seeing 5% interest rates again. And it's happening fast. We know this. We've seen what's happened in the past few months. Let's say a buyer says to you, well, I want to wait for prices to come down because prices have been super crazy. Well, let's just look at what's happened in the last 5 years. In the last 5 years, we've seen prices go up and go down. But if you look when it goes down, it's very minimal. If you look at the last 5 years, it has had a steady increase. The only time that we had a real drop in prices was 2008, when we had the real estate bubble. But there were other things that contribute to that, not this at all. We are now coming to this place where we're almost out of this pandemic. We're going in that direction. So there's nothing going to be earth-shattering that's going to all of a sudden bust the prices of real estate. So watch, when we're talking to our buyers, there's 2 things to tell them. If they wait, here's what it's going to cost them. Number one, prices are going to continue to go up. Maybe not as much as the last 2, but they ain't coming down is the point. And number 2, interest rates are going up. This is a bad time for a buyer to wait. Let's talk about sellers. Sellers, we need to tell sellers to list now before the April price reductions. If you look at our business, there seems to be a higher increase of listings adjusting the list price coming down. I'm calling it the April price reductions. Let me show you what I mean. This is according to Realtor.com, looking at the past several years when it started tracking. It started tracking in 2016 in the middle of the year. What you'll notice is that just around April, there is an increase. Don't get confused by the chart going up. What's going up is the percentage of listings on Realtor.com that actually started to lower their price adjustments. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. Maybe they started too high. But the one that I want to focus on with you is, why are they going up in April? Well, let's look at what happens also in April. Is there's an increase in the number of inventory that comes to market, meaning that there's going to be more homeowners deciding to put their house up for sale in April, which means it's driving the competition, because there's more competition, driving prices down. So what we need to tell our sellers, now is the time to put it on the market before they have competition. Otherwise, it's going to hurt them as far as their list price. And let me just show you something else here. There's the chart. So because more listings are coming to the market. Now, let me talk to you. What does this mean for you? This is really important when I convey to you. And the whole point of what this webinar is about. If we look at the past several years of what's happened as far as inventory is concerned, you'll notice something very interesting. In January, if you look at the highs and lows of our inventory over the past several years, with the exception of the last two, we'll talk about that in a second. So before the pandemic, you'll see it goes up, it goes down. But watch what happens. January, there's a surge of listings that start to go up. Here it is again, January 2018. There's that floor. Remember I talked about the floor. It hits the floor, and then January, it start going up. What? January 2019, same thing. Hit a floor, it start going up. Now, January 20th, inventory it didn't hit a floor. It kept going down. What happened in January 2020? We had the pandemic. Now, but you'll notice January 21, inventory started going back up again. What happened January 2021? Vaccine. So here's, what am I saying? What's my point, gang? There is going to be a surge of listings coming these next 3 months. We are coming out of this pandemic. A lot of positive signs that we're seeing there. It's January. We've had 2 years of craziness. If there was any time for you to be a listing agent, listen, here's the point. This is very important. If there was any time for you to dig in and focus on building inventory, restocking your shelves in your real estate business with inventory, now is the time for you to go all in, for you to really focus and commit to this. Now, I want to help you. I'm going to give you some strategies to help you with this, to kick it off for you. First thing is, you got to get super organized. I mentioned it earlier. Some of us on this webinar
Yeah, we're getting feedback. Getting feedback and we can't hear you. Yay, hot dog. Everything's coming up roses. Cannot hear your voice, Darryl, just the feedback. Feedback's gone. That's good. Stick with us, guys. Give us a moment. Feedback is back. Yep, just me, Kevin. Darryl will be back in just a moment. Please stand by. Yes, the message is great. Stick with us, guys. Give us just a moment. Darryl will be right back. Thanks, Michelle. Houston, we have a problem. That's Gail's favorite line, Bruno. That's funny. Mark says it's a cliffhanger. I want to know the next sentence so bad. You guys are cracking us up. I love it. I'd love to hear you talk while we wait. Well, thank you very much, Anthony. I appreciate that. Sarah's going to handle the people that are not seeing. Sometimes you have to scroll on your phone. Things do happen, Francine. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Give us just a moment. That's right. Stuff happens. Thank you. The message is worth waiting for. Not to worry. Technology is amazing. Yes, it always has. Isn't that always the way? I always say technology is awesome when it works, right? But sometimes it likes to give us a little bit of a challenge. Paul says Jeopardy theme. Dun, 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 dun. I know I need a little elevator music thing, right? A little thing to push. Francine says we're in it to win it. Thank you, Francine. I'm excited. Julie, talk about classroom listing things available. Yes, well, we do have a lot in the listing. We have an entire category in the classroom that's just about the listing appointment. Darryl talking about getting super organized. I'm sure he's going to talk about CRM and talk about making sure that you've got your listing appointment locked and conversation locked and loaded. Stan says, we'd love to see you tap dance, Julie. Thanks, Stan. I love it. Dancing over here. Darryl, your mic is muted. Come save me, Darryl.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Ah, I can hear you.
All right.
Yay. I love it. That's Elsa doing things. Yes, no, I won't be singing, guys. Trust me. You don't want me to sing. That would be bad. It's giving me time to drink my coffee.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
I can hear you and
see
I can
me?
hear you. Yes.
All right. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome back.
All right.
Deep breaths.
So, thank you. Sorry about that, gang. Tech is great when it works. All right. So getting back to this. And by the way, just tell me if there's another tech problem, Julie, as far as the mic. Is there feedback? Is it all good? It looks good.
Everything looks awesome.
Okay.
Let's roll. Everybody take a deep breath.
Okay. First of all, I just got notified that nobody left. God bless you. Thank you very much, gang. All right. So we're going to stay as long as I need to make sure we communicate this message. So we may get a little over the scheduled time, but I will try and make up the time without sacrificing the content. So talking about getting organized, I do want to talk to the power agents just for a second, because that's part of what I need to do here. Power agents, what I'm about to share with you, everything is from the time management section of the Power Program website. Now, as far as getting organized, and if you're a guest, don't worry about the forms that I'm showing. The concept still applies here. One of the things that I recommend that you do is you come up with a daily routine of what you're committed to when it comes to building inventory and prospecting. This is very important. Now, I want to share a concept or an analogy with you as far as the gym. Those of you that like to work out, you don't fit working out into your life. You fit your life into the commitment of working out. Did you hear what I just said? Even if you don't work out, you can relate to what I'm saying. When it comes to building inventory, and why I'm so passionate about this for you at this time of year, this is the time. You have to not do busy work and not be and get to prospecting later. Prospecting cannot be the thing that you do later after you get these things done. So what I suggest you do, for example, if you look at this as an example that we give to our power agents, we suggest that in the morning, they have some time, at least an hour and a half, that they block out for now type of prospecting, Fsbos, expireds, whatever, that's now business. And then in the afternoon, do some future prospecting things that aren't going to immediately generate listings, but social media, farming, past clients, shaking the trees. Here's something else, another suggestion, is make a list. Power agents, we have this for you. Guests, make a list of all the different prospecting tools and things that you can do. So if I'm looking at this, call past clients, send out 50 letters, call Fsbos, call expired, sphere of influence, etc. Like, make a list. And then put across the top the days of the week and challenge yourself that every single day you touch at least 2 of those areas in prospect. So Sunday, Monday, 2, and every day you do a little bit from each one of those columns, at least 2. That's going to generate business for you. Here's another suggestion in staying focused. I'm a big fan of charts and forms and flyers. Let's say you have this daily little task to do, commitment that you make, that every day that you're going to talk to at least one buyer, talk to one seller. Now, because we're talking about listings here, I like you to do a little bit more than just one a day, but just follow me on the concept. If every single day for 30 days, you had at least one conversation with somebody thinking about selling, one with a buyer, that's 60 conversations. Do you think that will move the needle in your business in that 30 days? Absolutely. here's something else. We love the dot board and the vision board, something we teach our power agents. Now, power agents, by the way, power agents that are listening, if you've heard me talk about the dot board before or something else that I'm going to cover today, I want you to ask yourself the question, are you implementing it? Is it part of your daily routine? So don't dismiss something. I remember Darryl saying that, okay, let me go on to the next thing. No, I want you to look at, are you really using it in your business? Because that's important. You got to use this stuff. Now, this dot board is a perfect example. The concept is gamifying your business. Like, let's say you shake the trees, you make some calls, you get a listing, but you put a dot up on the board saying, I got a listing. Oh, let me get another listing. And what'll start to happen is you'll get addicted to the dot board. You'll want to actually generate more dots in business for yourself. So here's one of our power agents, one of our super power agents, Mary Buddendeck. This was her dot board last year. She did 61 dots as a power agent. That's pretty, it actually looks like machine gun fire there. I mean, it's pretty incredible. But what happens is that you get motivated. It helps you stay focused, gang. Now, here's another system to help you stay organized. We get this question a lot as far as how to organize or find the leads. One of the questions that came in this morning on the webinar is how can I stay, how do I get Fsbos and expireds? The company that we push all the time whenever possible is RedX. And the reason why I push this, gang, is because to me, RedX is up there like, as an agent, you need to have a cell phone. You need to have a website. You need to have access to email. You need to have a car. And you need to have RedX. So it's one of the most, and a CRM, one of the most important tools for you. And here's why. Watch this. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see, for people who have not heard of RedX before, they give to you, they go out into your market and they find the expireds, the Fsbos, the for rent by owners, which is an unutilized source of listing leads, not rentals, but listing leads. Then you've got your pre-foreclosures. Forget about Storm Dial for a second. What they do, their job, when you subscribe to them, they're not part of our company, it's a separate vendor, is they find the Fsbos and expireds in your MLS and they put it in an organized fashion for you, right? So when you log into the account, you have all your leads for the day. One of my power agents from years ago, Holly Ritchie, now top agent in Ohio, used to be with Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, one of my favorite clients. And Holly, I'll never forget, she came to class when I was teaching the live version. She came to class the month after I taught what I'm talking to you about, and she got 6 listings in 1 month. 6 listings in 1 month. And I said, Holly, stand up, share, how did you do it? And here's what she said. When she organized all of her leads, just like you see on the screen, she got empowered and motivated because here's why. Listen to this. She said, I'll never forget this, and I've had so many students, so many classes. She said, Darryl, because there's so many leads that I could access, even if I was bad on the phone, I knew I could get some of this listed with me. And so it empowered her. Being organized will empower you to want to prospect. Darryl, there's not a lot of Fsbos in my market. There's going to be, gang, if that's true for you, because of what I just shared earlier about January, February, March is where there's an increase of listing inventory that's coming. I'm sorry, not January, February. In April, May, and June is where is the most number of listings that are coming. So we got to get prepared for this. Let me continue on. This RedX, here's another screenshot of it. When you log in, you can actually auto dial. So you can get through the list even quicker. Okay, so that's my suggestion as far as getting super organized. Let's talk about mastering the telephone. Now, before I get into the telephone and talking about Fsbos and expireds, I want to address this question. Hey, can you call Darryl Fsbos and expireds that are on the do not call list or in a state of emergency, which is a popular question from New York. So let me just tell you, for those who don't know me, this is a screenshot of me doing our annual conference that we do for our power agents, and it's called the Inventory Intensive. And in the inventory intensive, I actually call Fsbos live from the stage. And my batting average, if I speak to 4, I'll schedule 3 appointments. So my point is, when it comes to Fsbos and expireds, this is my wheelhouse. This is my strength. So I'm going to answer that question for you. Can you call Fsbo or an expired? I do want you to know everything that I said. I'm going to do a disclaimer right now. Everything that I'm going to share with you, I've run through our law firm, so I know what I'm saying is accurate, but I'm not an attorney. You should do whatever your broker says to do. Your broker is the final decision maker when it comes to this. Not our association, not NAR, not the local boards, not me. Here's how it goes. It goes from Department of License to your broker. Well, God first, then Department of License, then your broker, and then everybody else. If you really look at the do not call list and what the law says, here's what I can tell you. You absolutely 100% can call Fsbos and expireds that are on the do not call list, and here's why, even in a state of emergency. A Fsbo is the opposite of unsolicited calls, which is how the law says in the do not call list, you can't make unsolicited calls for people who are on the list. A Fsbo is the opposite because they're advertising their phone number saying, hey, call me. They are the ones that started it, not us. We're responding to their ad. Fsbos are soliciting, the opposite. Here's the other thing. You may be representing a buyer. If you have a buyer agency agreement is essentially a kind of a power of attorney where you are representing the buyer, acting as in the buyer's best interest to find them a home. They've charged you with the fiduciary responsibility. Go out into the world and find them a house. That also is another reason. Third reason is you're not soliciting. If you look at the definition of the do not call list, it doesn't apply because we're not soliciting. You see, soliciting is selling over the phone, like stocks, bonds, a magazine subscription. We ain't doing none of this. It doesn't apply to us because we're not soliciting. And again, this is even true in a state of emergency, a nod to my New Yorkers. Now, here, expireds. You could call expireds because the do not call list says you can if you had a prior relationship. Well, the fact that they are through the expired, through the MLS, we had an indirect relationship because when they went on MLS, they basically hired all the agents in the MLS system as sub-agents through the listing agent to come sell their house. So we had that prior relationship. Again, we're not soliciting. We're not asking for money over the phone. All right. Now, with that said, let's get into the concepts of working for sale by owners and how important this is. First of all, number one is you may not get them the first time. When you work Fsbos, you may not get them the first time. You got to nurture them. So don't freak out if you don't get that appointment or you get the appointment, you don't get the listing and they still want to do it on their own. It's about follow-up in some cases. Number two, their buyers, when they tell you they have buyers, especially on the phone, may not be true. They may not be real buyers. The third thing is there's no right time to call. Very important. You know, I get that question all the time. Darryl, what is the best time or the right time to call the for sale by owner? There is no right time. What's important is the consistency. That's what's important. That you pick a time on your schedule that you're going to do it every day at that time. I don't care if it's the morning. I don't care if it's the night. I don't care. It's got to be based on what you're going to do. It's like a diet. Which is the best diet? It's the one you got to actually stick to. Number four is get past the 60-second hump. See, when you're calling for sale by owners, I'm going to do this really quick, is that for sale by owners are like method actors. Anybody knows about acting? Here's what a method actor is. As soon as an actor puts on the makeup, the costume, they become the character. They are the character, even if they're not in front of the audience or a camera. That's a method actor. Fsbos are method actors. As soon as they know that you're a realtor, here's how it goes. You call them up, say, ring, hello? Yes, hi, I'm calling about the house for sale. Yes. Is the house still available? Well, yes, it is. Well, hi, this is Darryl Davis, Power Realty. How are you? What do you want? In other words, as soon as they heard that I'm a realtor, they put on their costume and makeup, and it's called Be a Tough Homeowner. But the interesting thing about the for sale by owner is they only are nasty for 60 seconds. It's like their script that they have in training, like they have their own training program by a Frenchman, Jacques Fsbo. Like Jacques gives them this script on how to get rid of a realtor, but it's only 60 seconds. After 60 seconds, the homeowner shifts and they start to become really nice. So one of the secrets to success in calling for sale by owners is hang in there during that 60 seconds. If you get past that, you are halfway home. And here's the other thing. Give yourself permission to fail. I know I'm going really fast in what I'm teaching. I hope this is sticking. I hope I'm making a difference with you right now. But here's what I got to tell you. Some of you need this. Some of you, your fear of calling
is because you don't want to look stupid or unprofessional. Come on. You got to be nicer to yourself. Give yourself permission to make mistakes. Warren Buffett said, success is the worst teacher. You only learn from your mistakes. You know, if you were learning anything, if you got kids and your kids were learning something new, are they going to make mistakes when they want to quit? What'd you tell them? You tell them, come on, just keep pushing through that. If you wanted to learn how to play the piano, you'd never played. Are you going to screw up? Of course you do. Whenever you're learning something new, you are going to mess up. And you need to embrace that, accept that, own it. So be nice to yourself. Give yourself permission to fail, because eventually you'll have a breakthrough. Okay, but you got to push through that. All right, I hope that helped whoever needed, because that wasn't part of what I was supposed to say, all of that. All right, here's the next thing. Number 6, make sure decision makers, everybody's home. When you're calling for a sale by owner, you're talking to one, right? You're not on a speakerphone. So if you're talking to Mrs., make sure Mr. is home and vice versa. Otherwise, you're going on a one-legged appointment. A good chance of you not getting the listing will go up dramatically. And lastly, number 7 is make sure you have enough time to do the whole conversation, right? So if they want to just, you can come over really quick. We're doing an open house Saturday. Come over during the open house. You don't want to do that because they're going to be distracted with the open house. It's not good for them either. They can't really have a good conversation with you as well. All right, so now let's go into the magic Fsbo Dialogue. So I'm going to cover this a little bit. We have a whole webinar just on the Fsbo Dialogue, but let me touch upon this. I will tell you what I'm going to show you. One of our power agents, Carmen from Howard, Indiana, she took the dice. She sent this out to me. She said, Darryl, man, I took your Fsbo Dialogue. I hit the phones in one weekend. I listed 5 houses in one weekend. That's pretty good. And so anyway, let me share with you the dialogue. Power agents, where is the dialogue that I'm going to show you? When you go to the prospecting section of the Power Program website, when you go there, there's a tremendous amount of dialogue. There's over a dozen, right? There's calling the Fsbos, expireds, and the whole 9 yards, more than what we're going to cover today. But what I want to tell the power agents, guests, just for a second, is power agents, as you're implementing and as you're calling Fsbos over the next few weeks, don't forget Monday is our coaching call where I can talk to you and you can tell me, Darryl, this happened. This is what was said. How should I have handled it? And we record those calls. So power agents, please use the Monday coaching calls for you to bring your questions and concerns so I can help you have a breakthrough in this. Okay, with that said, let's cover the Fsbo Dialogue and break it down pretty quick here, okay? So the first part is, hi, I'm calling about the house for sale. Yes, is the house still available? And they say, yes, it is. So, well, hi, this is Darryl Davis from Power Realty. How are you? And the reason why you want to do that is because I reference Jacques Fsbo, that training program. Jacques teaches Fsbos when a realtor calls, immediately tell them the house is sold, right? And that's why you do those first 2 questions. Hi, I'm calling about the house for sale. Yes. If they say yes, I know I'm talking to the homeowner. If they say, hold on a second, hey, Ma, there's somebody on the phone about the house. So now I'm talking to the owner, and they say, yes, is the house still available? Yes, it is. Well, hi, this is Darryl Davis, Power Realty. How are you? And they're going to say, fine. Now, listen, we're not going to be able to cover every objection, and that's why the Monday calls for Power Agents is so important. So just going over the basic structure of the call, the reason why I was calling is I noticed your ad, your sign, whatever, and I was wondering if you're working brokers to sell your property. So if they say yes, you want to just get clear, is that house, is it listed, right? Because you may have missed that. If they say, no, we're not working with brokers, say, oh, so you are trying to do it on your own? Yes, we are. Now, if they are nasty because they're a New Yorker or Jersey, shout out to my Jersey brethren and sisters. Anyway, so if they are nasty, they say, yes, we're not working brokers. Do you see my ad said, no agent? You know, you could joke with them and say, well, that's why I'm calling. My broker said I'm the closest thing to no agent there is. Don't do that. Anyway. So if they're really nasty, you want to say, is that because you want to save the commission? And they say, yes, you guys charge too much and this is a hot market. I don't need you. No matter what they say, then you go right to the next part, would you start asking them questions. Now, the questions you want to ask, you can break them up into 2 categories. This is really powerful what I'm sharing you, so hang on. This is part of the secret sauce. Is the first set of questions you want to ask them is about the house. Well, let me just ask you. I see that you have 3 bedrooms And are the bedrooms all upstairs, down? And just start asking questions. Ignore anything that's been set up to this point and just start asking questions like a buyer would. Now, here's what's interesting. That Fsbo has been used to answering these questions on the phone that buyers ask. So as you start to ask the questions, they go into like buyer mode. Like I think like subconsciously they forget they're talking to an agent. Like they've been programmed to answer. How many bedrooms you have? How many bedrooms? Okay, good. Whatever it is. Okay. Now, if you get really good and you start to feel like you're building some connection and they haven't hung up on you yet or they haven't pushed you away, and they're not that bad, by the way, I'm just joking. When you go to the next set of questions about their commitment, where they're moving to, why there, what's their time frame. Now, this is a little bit more intimate, these questions, and you're not going to always get to that. Some of them are going to want to get off sooner, but if you can get to those commitment questions, which is where they're moving to, the next level, then I'm telling you, gang, that's when they're going to ask you to come over. That's when you have a really solid appointment because you've got past the negativity and that you're just an agent. And now you're actually now you're serving them. Okay. So let's finish up this dialogue. At some point, you're going to say, would you be offended if I just stopped by to see your house? If you get that sense, and it's an instinct thing, the more calls that you make, the better you become, the more instinct you develop, right? It's the Olympians. I'm thinking of the Olympians, right? Like the more you do it, the better skilled you become at it. And there's an instinct that can't be taught. Instinct gets only developed by doing it enough. And when you feel that instinct, that there's an opening for you to get the appointment, you ask, would you be offended if I just stopped by to see your house? There's something magical about those words. Would you be offended if I just stopped by to see your house? Now, the next part is just another way to get the appointment if you wanted to. If they're still a little tough with you, if I had a buyer who's willing to pay your price and pay my commission, could we work together? That's a different way of getting the appointment. And that's usually when they're a little tough and it's more about money. So again, it's part of the instinct. Now, I'm going to share with you the secret ingredient. I said to you at the beginning of this that my batting average and I listed and sold in New York, Long Island, those Fsbos, they're the hardest in the country. Those people, they will curse at you before they hang up. And then you got to call them back and say, I'm sorry, we got disconnected. My point is, if you can list Fsbos in New York, that's like you're a Marine of real estate. That's the toughest, all right, or Navy SEAL. In any event, I'm going to share with you, it's not just the dialogue, it's this secret ingredient. And here it is. I do not want you, if I were to ask you, what is your commitment when you're making your calls? You probably would tell me my commitment when I call a Fsbo is get the appointment. What I'm going to tell you right now, do not be committed to getting an appointment. If you are committed to getting an appointment, that's your biggest problem. What I want you to be committed is to build a relationship with another human being. Now, this is the secret sauce. This is so important what I just said to you.
Darryl,
Did I just hit my mic? Yes, what?
your mic.
Is it still a problem?
Nope. I don't know what you just did, but it fixed itself.
I just keep hitting my mic. I'm very excited.
Passionate. Stop hitting things.
All right. Here's what I can tell you why this is so important. Is when you are about getting an appointment, the focus is all on you. It's about you taking. It's about you winning. It's about you receiving. If you don't get an appointment, you lost. You're a loser. That's where we go to a bad place with this. But if you make a commitment to building a relationship with another human being, regardless of what happens, whether you get the appointment or not, you're going to win. That's number one. Number two is if it's about building a relationship with another human being, you have to ask questions, which helps you get better at asking questions, which that is also the secret of sales, is 2 ears and 1 mouth communicate in that proportion. And if you're asking questions because you really care about them, now you're serving, you're not selling. You're making it about them, not about you. Gang, I want you to pick up your phone committed to building a relationship with another human being. And if you do that, I promise you, the appointment will happen by itself. This over here, the voicemail, if you get this voicemail, it's very magical. They call you back. Hi, this is Darryl Davis. The reason why I was calling is I noticed you're selling your house and I have some important information about that. As a matter of fact, I might have somebody who could be interested, but I'm not sure yet because I need to get that information. Could you call me back? So that's the answering machine dialogue. Old Fsbo dialogue, I'm not going to go through this. It's similar to the Fsbo. It just referenced you tried selling your house few months ago, and those listings did sell. Why do you think you didn't sell, or you think about selling now? But we're going to jump to the expired dialogue. I have so much more to give you. Continue. How are we doing now, Julie? Is it okay?
Everything's good.
Okay, so the expired dialogue, here's just going through this briefly. This is easier. Expireds are actually easier. Hi, may I speak with Mrs. Jones or Mr. Jones? Yeah, hi, this is Darryl Davis, Power Realty. How are you? Great. The reason why I was calling is I know your house expired off the MLS. I was wondering if the house is still for sale. Now, if they say yes, you want to clarify, is it back on MLS? If they say no, you say, did you sell it? And if they said yes, you want to make sure it's in contract. If they say no, it's not for sale, no, we didn't sell it, then you want to go to the next part. Well, regardless of what they say, I'm looking at a copy of the listing and I'm a little surprised it didn't sell. Why do you think that is? Now, at this point, you're just going to let them riff as to, well, it's because of this or because of that, yada, 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 and just let them talk. And then you'll go to this. Well, let me ask you this, Ms. Jones. I understand it's probably frustrating for you, but let me ask you, if I had a buyer who's willing to pay your price to make this move a success for you, and we can still get you to Florida. I use Florida because as New Yorkers, everybody's moving to Florida, but of course you fill in the blank of what they told you, why they're moving and where they were going to. In the time frame you want with the money that you need, is that something you consider? So part of the job of working with the expireds is to bring back to the surface their level of commitment and enthusiasm of selling, because a lot of them feel rejected, right? As far as the expired voicemail dialogue, it's very similar to the Fsbo Dialogue, so we don't need to get into that. I want to say something to the guests. If you decide you want to try the Power Agent program at the end when we're done, or you can go to that website, we're going to email you all of the scripts and dialogues as part of the bonuses, and you get to keep those. If you cancel, that's our gift to you, along with everything else that was on that page. So the mastering the telephone, staying organized. Let's talk about the listing conversation itself. Now, I'm not going to go, I can spend a whole hour on this. Power Agents, if you go to the webinars on demand of the classroom of the website, you will find that there was one of the webinars that we did was how to list 3 out of 4 Fsbos, and it was 1 hour without tech challenges. I felt like I had to say that. And you can get the entire listing appointment there. But I do want to pull from that webinar and just share a couple of things with everybody watching now. And that is what I teach is how to, I break up the listing appointment into 4 sections. And we use the word real because we want you to be more authentic on the listing appointment. We don't teach memorized scripts. And the reason why we don't teach that is because what happens if the other person doesn't know their part? It'd be nice you go on a listing appointment. You know, here, Mr. Miss Hunter, here's your part, here's mine. You want to role play. It doesn't work that way. And this is why a lot of agents stay away from listings, is because they take a course where somebody says, here's your script, here's what to say. And the problem with that is those aren't your words or somebody else's. So when you're trying to use somebody else's words, you feel inauthentic and incongruent with who you are, and people pick up on that. So we tell Power Agents, throw away the scripts, talk from your heart, not your head. Now, it's called human being, not human doing. Stop doing listing presentations. Be a commitment to serving, not selling, coaching, not closing. Now, there is a structure to the conversation, and that's what you see on the screen right now is REAL. The R stands for build and rapport. You know, I'm going to tell you something, especially some of the new people I saw that we have on the call today. People don't list with companies. They don't list with people. List with people. So you can level the playing field of anybody you're competing with, as long as people like you and they trust you. That's key. See, watch this. For example, like we had some tech problems with this, and I'm teaching, but you know, of course, we would love the guests to become Power Agents, and I can say all the bonuses and things that you can get. But if you don't trust me, if you don't like me, if you don't think that I'm authentic with what I'm saying, you're not going to become a Power Agent. And that's what's the important thing. You got to connect and believe the people you're working with. And that's what we have to get through on a listing appointment. It's the same thing. If you can connect with your homeowners and be real, they'll choose you over somebody that might have better production or better glitz. Okay? So build that rapport, connect with them. You're 50% home. Now engage them in the conversation. How do you engage somebody in the conversations? You ask questions. You're asking questions, though, not just to find out, what they're trying to accomplish. So here's the motto that our power agents have. Power agents coach, we don't close. And power agents serve, we don't sell. That is the philosophy of our company and what we try and teach power agents. The reason why we're saying this is because nobody sells a house just to sell a house. Listen to what I'm saying now, please. Nobody sells a house to just sell a house. They sell a house because they're committed to something. It could be a bigger house. It could be to downsize, to save money for retirement. It could be they get married, they get kids. It could be that they're renting. In other words, people are making this move to their next level in life. Selling the house is not the end result. Selling the house is a means to a bigger end. And what power agents, or what we do, not just power agents, what we do as real estate professionals is we help coach people get to their next level. And we've been licensed by the state to help these homeowners get to their next level. You've been licensed. You're not just you're like a coach for civilians. So part of being a good coach is you have to ask questions to find out what they're committed to, where they're moving to, why they're, when did you get there by, what would happen to the plans if it didn't? Your job, listen to me, is not to sell their house. Your job is to get them to their next level in their life, to be a real estate coach. And if the house doesn't sell, it all blows up. So you are responsible for that piece, but that's not what you're committed to. It's getting them to their next level in life. Now, once you're clear about what that is, you're going to give them some advice. You're going to coach them, all right? So this is where you'll talk about how you can help them get to their next level, where you're going to talk about MLS, yard sign, lockbox, feature sheet. This is the tools that you bring to the table for your clients. And then once you feel the openings there, you list, you leave, and you get to work. Now, guess, I wish I had more time. This is why we're giving you so much of these bonuses for the $5, is there is a whole hour on how to do the listing appointment, along with the slide deck that you're going to get to. But I'm going to share with you a little bit of it right now. When you are talking to a homeowner, you want to validate Realtor. That's got to be the focus. So when you find out what they're committed to, where they're moving to, you want to get them to, if it's a Fsbo especially, because Fsbos, they haven't bought into Realtor. They haven't bought into our profession. If you're trying to talk about how great you are, how great your company is, but they haven't even bought into Realtor, they're not going to list with you. I used to say, listen to me. I don't have time to tell you this, but when it falls in my heart, I feel like I'm supposed to say it. So I'm going to say this. When I started real estate on Long Island, I was 19 years old. I was living on my own since I was 16. I didn't have a good childhood. That's another story. But my point is, I was very insecure. I'm 19 years old. I'm struggling. People in this business, they were twice my age. I was renting an apartment. How the hell am I going to talk to a homeowner who's twice my age, who owns a home, and I'm renting, and I've got some issues in my life because of my childhood? I was very insecure. I couldn't sell me, is the point. But you know what? I chose real estate. As a matter of fact, real estate probably saved my life as a young adult. So when I went on listing appointments, I was willing, if they didn't hire me, but they hired a realtor, that'd be okay. Because being a Fsbo, I was so anti-Fsbo because it's bad for them. So my commitment was to convey the power of Realtor. Now, here's what happened. If they bought into Realtor, and I happen to be the one that's in front of them, talking with integrity, committed to them, committed to serving and not selling, coaching and not closing, and I'm telling you need to hire a realtor, and I'm a realtor, picking me was the natural next progression. I didn't have to close them and hire me. They chose me because of my commitment. So one of the things I'm going to ask you to do is get passionate about these homeowners out there. They need you. If you're a little insecure about just the fact that you're a realtor is good enough, because you earned to be where you are right now. Think about all the agents who left the business the last couple of years because they couldn't cut it. So did I mess up my mic, Julie, over here?
No, I can still hear you. Keep going.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the 8 risks. Now, we put listen, this is for the power agents. Let me just talk to them. We put together this book that you can use on listing appointments. You can use it as a piece that you drop off to homeowners about the 8 risks of being a Fsbo, selling on your own. There's another thing that we put together, which is all the things that we do as real estate professionals for homeowners. I made a list of 184 things. We do 184 things that we earn our commission for homeowners. That's not the buyer side. That's the homeowner side. Now, What I suggest, power agents, you can use this on listing appointments, you can use it as mailings, but you know what? Just read the darn thing before you go into a listing appointment. You'll have the passion. People list with your passion. They can sense that authenticity. That's what I'm trying to convey to you, is be this commitment to helping people. These homeowners, they're coming to the market in these coming months. You've got to get the message out to them. Anyway, if you're a guest, sit down, take a piece of paper, write out everything that you do as a listing agent, and that probably will motivate you. Yes, by the way, you're going to get the 184 things as part of those bonuses. All right, let's talk about for sale by. Look at this. For sale by owner.com. This guy over here, he's telling homeowners you can save $105,000. If you had a $2 million house, you could save $105,000. This is a slider. The guy that created for sale by owner is telling homeowners, don't be a Fsbo, because you're gonna. I mean, don't listen with realtors. Be a Fsbo because you can save that much money. But meanwhile, when he sold his property, came out in the New York Times, he tried being a Fsbo for 6 months in a hot seller's market. And you know what? After 6 months, he hired a real estate broker, Jesse Buckler. He listed with the agent. The agent got multiple offers, and he wound up selling for $150,000 more than the Fsbo price. And here's the cool part. He actually paid a $129,000 commission. Now, if you go back to his website, he's saying don't list with an agent because you can save $100,000. But meanwhile, he listed with an agent. He paid $129,000. Come on now. I'd say to a Fsbo, the guy that created Fsbo.com, he's not even a Fsbo. Here's another one, the Biona.com guy. This guy, first of all, I love the fact that he's got the Realtor.com on his site. So the Biona guy is saying, listen, don't list with a realtor, but we use Realtor.com on our site. So, I mean, there's an oxymoron. But even this guy, he had a property in Clearwater. He listed with a Coldwell Banker agent for $3.78 million. Here's two Fsbo CEO guys. They're not even Fsbo. You got to tell a homeowner, listen, there's got to be more to this thing than selling your house. Than just putting an ad in the paper. You know, USA Today. Now, this is an old article. I talk about it because it's such a great article, 2003. So it's an old one. But what they did, USA Today, they looked at all these homeowners that sold their house. And by the way, the article said for sale by owners can be a hard sell. And look at the subtitle. Can you see the subtitle? Agents are often worth their weight in commission. Not worth the commission, worth their weight in commission. Because here's what they discovered. Again, these prices are low because it was 2000, it was 2003, a long time ago. But what they found is it was still a hot seller's market. Some of you know 2003 was crazy. It was before the bubble busted. You tell a homeowner 2003, they're like, I don't need an agent. I can sell a house putting an ad like this in a minute. But they found that the Fsbos that sold their own, that was the average sales price, $137. But when the neighbors who listed with a realtor, their sales price was $175. If you do the math, that means realtors sell for 21.49% more than the for sale by owner in the hottest seller's market. And it's still true today because we do so much more than just selling houses. One of the things, the secret sauce, how do you do a listing appointment that is not script-based, that's structured? We teach power agents use stories, metaphors, analogies whenever you think of great motivational speakers, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, They're storytellers. There's a psychology behind it. I don't have time because I'm trying to make up for our time today. But here's what I can tell you. Here's an example of it. You'd say to a homeowner, if you were sick, Mr. or Mrs. Hanahana, who would you call? You call a doctor. If, let's say, somebody was going to sue you, would you go to court and represent yourself? Heck no. You'd go find an attorney and you'd hire that attorney. When it comes time to doing your taxes, you guys look like you do okay. And I'm assuming you probably have an accountant that does your taxes. In all of these areas, you hire a professional to help you. Why would you do anything different with your most important asset called your home? Listen, if selling a house was as simple as putting an ad on the internet, you wouldn't have to be licensed by the great state to help other people do this. So there's got to be more. You know what else these people all have in common? They have specialized training. Doctors, lawyers, accountants, and realtors. You can't just get out of bed and say, I want to be a doctor today. You've got to go to school. You can't just be an accountant. You have to get certified in all these. And it's true in real estate. As a matter of fact, it is a federal crime for people to help others sell their house and get paid a commission for it because there's more to this process. There's an example of an analogy. You know, when it comes time to selling a house, a lot of people say, oh, I just have to, find a buyer. They make an offer, it goes to contract. That's all. No, the game of real estate is so much more. And everything else is what the licensed agent does that you see on this board. Listen, here's what I suggest you do. Here's another example. You can sell on your own, but you're going to sell for less. Realtors always can sell for more. If you were to go to Kelley Blue Book and you were to compare your car as a private sale versus, like I did this on my car at the time, a Yukon Denali, if I were to sell it or buy it from a dealership, it would be $45,000. But what was interesting, this private price was actually $38,000, $43,000 for the same exact car. This is the same exact car. There's a 5% difference for the same car. Why? Because when you're buying privately, there's concerns that come with it. When you buy from a professional, a business, there's a backing, there's security to that sale. And therefore, you can actually sell it for more. Let's jump to this next thing. What you need to have, gang, also is get good at handling objections. Like, my house is nice, so we did all these improvements. We can always come down later. We need the money because of what we owe. We need the money because of the house that we're buying. The other agent. Anyway, gang, you also have to be prepared in handling objections. That's another topic that we're not covering today, although power agents, I do want to talk to the power agents for a second. When you go to the webinars on demand in the classroom, there is a great webinar called How to Get More Listings at Higher Commission. So make sure, power agents, you watch that. That'll help you on the listing appointment as well. All right, let's talk about mailings and self-promotion. We're going to open up the questions when I'm done, and I have something for the guests too. So hang in. We're coming to the end here. Everything I'm going to show now, power agents, is from the prospecting or the farming tab. Now, let me just tell you, power agents, one of the things about the site is there's over 600 forms, flyers, checklists, in addition to the training. So this is additional stuff that we just have for you. I want to tell you, power agents, what you should do is you go through things. There's a little button where you can do favorites. Let me go back to that screen. Underneath every item, there's a little star and it says favorite. When you click on that, it goes into a separate folder for you called favorites. So everything that you tagged, so you can take all the 600 flyers, forms, and checklists and put them in your own little folder. So that way you can start implementing those things, because it could be overwhelming because we have so much. And that's a really great tool to do that. And also, power agents, don't forget, we just launched for you the Power Print Portal last month, where you can actually print, get the mailing list, and ship it out, and you don't have to do anything. So don't forget we have that too. I'm going to skip over this testimonial. Let's go to Smile Stops. What Smile Stops are door knocking and giving something of value. So this is additional stuff I want to talk about. So, for example, let me just take this one Smile Stop that has one idea for each month. You shouldn't do it every month. But for example, coming months, May, you could do flower seeds. Thanks for helping me bloom. Your referrals are important. June could be box of Swedish fish with it's officially summer. I guess read that with an Irish accent. I'm hooked on happy clients and referrals. Hooked. I got that. July, box of sparklers. Wishing your sparkling independence. I'm here to help you with your real estate needs. S'mores in August. Anyway, so there's what you can do is stop and buy clients. I call them Smile Stops, and giving some kind of token, some kind of gift. As far as mailings, think about things of value that you can mail out. For example, power agents, we have decluttering, downsizing, sending that out to your farm area, giving suggestions to people on how to improve their curb appeal. So what you should be doing is mailing out to your area on a consistent basis, because you want to grab these people. They're going to become this. What did we say at the beginning of this? There's going to be an increase of homeowners, of a surge of listings in the coming months. Now is the time for you to brand yourself, so that way they start calling you. If there was any time for you to do mailings, now is the time. They're for sale by owner rules. If you want to be a Fsbo, here's some things. If you go through these rules, that actually shows just how hard it is. That Sellopoly Monopoly board thing that I showed earlier, create a postcard on that, like we did for our power agents. Mail that out to show the whole process of what you do for homeowners. The 6 reasons your home isn't selling to send out to expireds. Now, here's something that's old is new again, is doing newsletters. Gang, you should be mailing out newsletters on a regular, consistent basis to an area. You keep hitting them. The definition of self-promotion is have people know your name, face, and what you do for a living. I will tell you, guests and power agents, we wrote this 43-page seller's guide that it is just off the hook. You can use it for so many different things. And I will tell you, I am so proud of the marketing team that we have here at Power Headquarters, the material that we put out. And Power Agents, I'm interested to see your chats if you agree with me as far as the content that we put and how it looks. Please shout out and let my team know, because we record this chat, and something I'm really proud of. But anyway, what you can do is actually create a landing page where you can tell people, listen, if you're thinking about selling, you need to get this guide. Go to this website. They fill out a lead capture form for you. You can actually, and how you promote it is put it on social media and say, hey, listen, if you're thinking about selling, I have this guide for you. Go to this website. And then it has how to, they fill it out, or you can send out a postcard to your farm area and drive people to this one page. They fill out the lead form to get that guide. Power Agents, just to let you know as well, there is, if you search Seller's Guide, you will find how to do all that and how to set up the landing page, and gives you all the marketing material as well. Also, consider doing email or letters, either emails or letters to expireds, telling them, listen, this is the time to sell right now. There's a Power Agents, there's just a ton of letters that we have for you.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. I got lost again?
Yeah, you had feedback again.
Okay, let's just go to this thing here. That's farming and self-promotion. And here's the last thing I'm going to say, and then we're going to open up to questions, is make sure you guys stay focused and have a support structure. I've talked about this a few times where I ran the New York City Marathon for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I am not a runner, but it was amazing. 37,000 people at the starting line. And I learned so much from running the marathon. This is a picture of me, because in case you didn't believe that I was actually there. And here's me finishing the New York City Marathon. But I did it to raise money for leukemia, and I trained 6 months for this. And actually, I ran 3 marathons. And there's something I learned about that, because I'm not a runner. I'm not physically fit. I learned when I make it public, it's a form of accountability. So the more you tell people that you are making this commitment to build your business, to have a breakthrough, you're putting it out to the universe, and there's a certain amount of accountability in just saying it. Scheduling a routine and committing to that schedule and being committed to that schedule and working that schedule, right? So don't fit your running or your prospecting into your life. You fit your life into the commitment of prospecting. You have a support structure, because you don't want to do this by yourself. You need that encouragement. You need that knowledge. You need to get people who've been there, done that before you, to help coach you through the process, to save so much time, years off your learning. And don't run alone. And in our business, it can feel very lonely. And so make sure you get around people. One of the things we're proud of here at Power Headquarters is the family that we have. So here's what we talked about. And then I'm going to open up to questions, although I got a gift for the guests. So get super organized, master the telephone, as we talked about, master the listing appointments so you feel good about going out there on listing appointments, have a support structure to help you stay focused. So those are the main things that we talked about. Now, if you're a guest, we're going to open up to questions, but I want to give something to the guests on the call. Is, first of all, if you want to become a power agent and get access to a whole bunch of stuff, you can just do it for $5, and there's no long-term contract, but you'll have access to everything that there's so much more I, of course, can't get into in just an hour, but you can cancel anytime, as I'd said, so you don't feel locked in. But the bonuses is what I want to show you in just a minute. Real quick, what the Power Agent program is every Monday we have coaching calls that are live that you can ask me questions. They're group coaching calls, and they go for about a couple hours. They start at 11 o'clock. everything that we do every week is recorded, and we post it on the website so you can watch it later on. We have a dedicated Power Agent group where agents are brainstorming, contributing to one another. I think it's the best group out there because it's not negative. There's no self-promotion allowed in it. There's no bashing. It's all, a lot of love is in there, and it's a closed group. So it's just for our members. There's a dedicated Power Agent website, and I'll just give you a couple of screenshots. When you log into your account, you will see this thing called Classroom. When you click on the Classroom, it brings you to the classroom. And in the classroom, there's all these categories of real estate. So let's say you needed help with farming and self-promotion. When you click on farming and self-promotion, you will see a plethora of flyers, postcards, mailing pieces, checklists that you can use in your business. I referenced the favorite feature. So if you searched, let's say the website for Classroom, for Fsbo, we use a similar technology that that Google uses. And so then everything Fsbo related shows up on the site for you. And then, of course, you can download it. So as a guest, this is what you can get if you decide to try us, if nothing else, for 30 days. We're going to email you right away a power deck for how to do the listing appointment, along with a recording. So I go through all those metaphors and analogies, like the sellopoly and the real estate professional versus accountant. There's so many more. The director's technique, the 6 bakers, blah, blah, blah. There is actually your business plan, which you should have one by now. But this is really good. This is timeless. So this is good to have throughout the whole year. Along with, if you're a new agent or experienced agent needing to jumpstart your business, we have a guide for you on that, along with the 12 best dialogues that power agents love, 184 things that you do to earn your commission to help maintain your commission. And if you're in a multiple offer situation, either with representing the buyer or representing the seller, how do you deal with that? You give that to them so they can understand the process, along with the predictions of this year, plus a copy of the slides today, a copy of this webinar, the recording. And if you need a CRM, we have one here also. Power Headquarters called Power Builder. Everything, if you bought it on our site, that's what really is what we sell it for, but you get it for $5. Now, with that said, we went over a little bit, so hopefully people are still getting value. I'm interested to know if you got value. Right now, the Q&A, share whatever you want to share, but most importantly, any questions that you have, either about being a power agent or about what we talked about this topic. And I will stay on this call as long as I need to make sure everybody's taken care of. So go ahead, Julie, what do we got?
I love it. We've got lots of questions. You guys can also use that Q&A to tell us what you learned today. So we'd love hearing that. All right, you ready?
I'm ready, Julie.
All right. Boom, boom, boom. Robin says, buyers are telling me they feel they would have better luck winning offers by working directly with listing agents. How do I handle that?
Yeah. So when it comes to the first of all, agents have what you would say to a homeowner is, or to a buyer, is that what you really need to focus on is the agent who's going to represent you the best to fight for you. Because if you go with that thinking, if going directly to the listing agent, that would help you. And if there's another buyer that is also going to that listing agent, that really doesn't help you then. What helps you, like in any profession, is the skill of the individual, right? So you want to make sure that you hire an agent based on their skill and their ability to not just negotiate for you, but to find a house for you that has a good reputation. So you should interview each individual agent based on their skill and ability to represent you and that you feel is connected with. So that's what I would say to a buyer if they said that to me. Next question.
Where do I find the dialogues in the classroom?
When you go to, so I'll give you an example of the website right now. So if you go to Classroom, so the Power program is set up into categories. I'll get into this more later if we have time, but just to answer that question really quick, everything's alphabetical. So if you go to Prospecting, which is where you would find the dialogue. Now, I told you we're not fans of dialogue, memorized dialogue, but on the telephone is the only exception to that rule. Everything else is taught metaphors and analogies. Here is the dialogue for I have a buyer, book of business, door knocking dialogue, expired dialogue, follow up on an open house. By the way, that's a really good dialogue. Pre-foreclosure, houses for rent. Also, we didn't talk about houses for rent as leads. That's great. Fsbo Dialogue is there. Everything is right there in the prospecting. Next question, Julie.
Fantastic. I have buyers who have good jobs, but credit is not good. Why do you think I might be attracting this kind of buyer?
That's a good question. I wouldn't overanalyze it too much right now. But there is something to be said about 6 degrees of separation, about our friends. Things, how many times have we run into or heard a story that somebody knows of somebody? So there's been some other studies about that as well. But I don't want to get all scientific with you on that. Just kind of let that go. But what I will tell you that you can do, I know this for a fact. What will dramatically increase somebody's credit dramatically is if they get all of their credit cards below 30% of available credit. If they can get all of the money that they owe in relationship to their available credit below 30%, they will have an incredibly huge jump in their FICO score immediately. True that. Next question.
Love it. Kelly asks, what is included for the $47 a month?
Everything that,
do we have to pay extra for the slides and the copy of the webinar? No,
you don't pay extra for anything. So everything is included in the program. So let me just go here. So the power group meetings, the webinars on demand, the coaching calls, these trainings. So there is nothing more to pay than $47. The only thing that's extra, because there are options and there are other companies, is the CRM that we have, because we contracted with a separate company that are CRM experts, and we had them customize it for power agents, and we negotiated a better price than you can get directly going to them. Not every power agent needs a CRM, so that's why we carved that out of the tuition as an add-on. And the second thing is RedX, because that's their business. We just love them and we promote them as well. The price on the monthly on RedX is varies depending on what you get, but power agents, they also get something nobody else gets, and that is no setup fee plus 30 days. They pay $0, and there's no contract. So literally you can try it for a month and pay $0. So that's what we did for you. Next question.
Kind of answers. We've got several questions on where do I get leads for Fsbos and expireds, and RedX is the answer for that. And you'll find that right in your classroom. And that go through that classroom though, so you can get that the setup fee waived.
Yeah, if you're a power agent, if you go to RedX, again, everything's alphabetical. If you click on that, you'll be brought to the site, and because they know you're a power agent, it transfers over. You don't pay the setup fee, you don't pay 30 days, and you give it a try. So they're the best.
Marquez says, tons of value. I just signed up. Welcome. We're excited to have you.
Congratulations.
Let's see. Karen says, I'm a power agent and I'm struggling with COVID restrictions. I can't door knock. I'm tired of getting hung up on. What do I do?
Yeah, so she's getting hung up on. Okay, so here's what I can tell you is that if you're a power agent, be on the Monday call and I'll role play with you, because I want to hear what you're doing. If you're getting hung up, so here's what happens. If you're not having success with it, you want to see how you can have a breakthrough. This is one of our philosophies, is breakdown equals breakthrough. There's an opportunity for you to get stronger based on a challenge. Okay. And that's what we teach our students. That's what we live from here at Power Headquarters. So I don't want you to run away if you're not getting appointments. There's something, let's see how we can have a breakthrough in that. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to door knocking, if there's a concern in your market because of masks and COVID, then you shouldn't do the door knocking right now if you feel that that's a neighborhood thing. But there are other things you can do as well to generate calls, which is what we talked about as well. Next question, Julie.
Yes. Linnell says, I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot today. I'm signing up for the 30-day trial. Awesome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Bobby says, great information. What is your opinion on paying for leads?
So first of all, while I'm just showing this screen, this is the webinars on demand. And so for that agent that's struggling with having to hang up, and here, this 10 prospecting scripts, I actually went through other dialogue and other things to do. So I want you to pay attention to that. I did that in December. That was really awesome. There's so much great webinar training here. If you guys got any value out of today, just multiply the value you got by however many weeks there are in a year, because that's what's here in the website for you. Okay.
Darryl,
And
while
some
you're
of
on
these,
that section,
hang
don't
on, Julie, hang on. Some of these topics, these webinars are very specific. Like I told you, today's webinar, I went wide, right? So I covered a little bit here about focus and time management and calling and the listing appointment. But if you want to have a breakthrough in the listing appointment, there's a webinar on this page just on that. There's one just on the prospecting on the telephone, right? So I want to push people to check those out. Go ahead, Julie. What were we going to say?
just, is there anything, we've got several agents that are asking about metaphors and analogies, and you talk about those in a lot of these webinars. So it's a great page. It's a whole library of webinars for you to learn from.
Yeah. So here's what I'll tell you is the guests. So this is the bonuses the guests get today. This 1 hour delivering a listing conversation and power agents, everything that's on this, you have it in the website. I'll show you in a second. I go through metaphors and analogies on a listing appointment, those two gifts that I'm giving you. So when you're talking about MLS, you need to explain MLS with a metaphor. When you talk about lockbox, you explain, how a lockbox is like a concierge at a high-end condo complex. So you use metaphors to explain yard sign, flyers, open houses, on how that's like a movie premiere. So I go through each one of those metaphors. And here's the great thing. When you listen to a metaphor for the first time, you'll be able to do it. Like, what did I just do? One of the metaphors I did was the Monopoly board, right? Or the hiring a professional, a doctor, a lawyer, accountant. You could probably go after this webinar and go do that right away. Why? Because you didn't have to memorize the script. Once you hear it the first time, you got it. Now, the more you do it, the better you get at the delivery of it. But that's what we teach. And guess you're going to get those. Now, power agents, let me jump to power agents for a second because I know this question comes up a lot. It's like, well, where is it in the power program? So what we did for the power agents is there is this one tab, which of course now all the power agents are jumping to the site. So when this happens, it gets a little slow. Darryl's top picks. When you go to Darryl's top picks, that page has all the stuff that's in the bonuses. Copy of here it says, grab the slides from the latest training. So it's there. There's other resources, other great stuff. There's the dot board that we talked about. The guides are in there. The predictions are there. The listing appointment is there. So a lot of what we talk about is there for you. Okay. Next question, Julie.
Wonderful. Is it worth it to buy online leads? Most top agents are buying them. How do you know where to buy them when Zillow does not have openings in my area? So there's your Zillow opening.
Yeah. First of all, you should not. I'm going to show you something else. So if you type in Zillow on the search thing, what you will find on our Power Program site is, first of all, a webinar, what to do now that Zillow is a competing broker. Zillow is not your friend, so you should not be giving Zillow as a competing broker. You should not give a competing broker your money. So that's a mistake that we tell people to avoid. There's also how to handle the Zillow estimate. Like, well, Zillow says my house is worth that. So there's a couple of things about there. iBuyer beware. This is really cool. I do want to show you this. And I know I didn't answer the question yet, Julie, but I just want to show everybody this Zillow. That's the flyer. I wanted to show the postcard. So let me see if I can show the postcard quicker. So while that is loading, let me answer the question about buying leads. I am not a fan of buying leads. And the reason why is because buying leads is kind of like a fire hose. Like, you have to go through a lot of time and money to find that one lead. It is so much more cost effective for you to simply pick up the phone, call Fsbos. What did I say here? Watch this. Stay here. I'm still teaching. So I'm all over. So stay there with me. That you will do better to not spend your money and your time, because it's not just buying leads and spending the money on the leads. You have to, it's actually, you're spending money to waste your time. Meaning that when you spend money to buy a lead, you're going to get maybe 100 calls or inquiries, and 95 of them are not good. And you're going to spend all that time sifting through to find those 5 good ones that maybe turns into one. But if you get on the phone and you call 5 Fsbos, 5 expireds, you call the neighbors in the area, you connect on a Facebook closed group, you do some smile stops, you do an open house. One open house will generate 10 listing appointments. That's another webinar we have. How to take one list and one open house and turn it into a plethora of listing leads, which we're going to do that broadcast again pretty soon, but it's in the portal for the power agents. Let me show the Zillow thing that I just wanted to show you, the postcard. You should, this is incredible. Even the CEO of Zillow thinks you should ask real estate agents what your home is worth. Thinking of selling your home, don't make the mistake of using it as estimate. You should mail this card out. And on the back of the card, it says, watch this, in a prominent Market Watch article, Spencer Raskoff, the Zillow's former CEO, here's what he said. We call it as estimate and not a Z appraisal, not a Z price. It's meant to be a starting point. To determine more accurate opinion of a home's value, you should hire a real estate professional. So you've got the CEO of Zillow saying, don't pay attention to us, call a realtor. That's powerful stuff. Anyway, there's more on this. I could talk a lot about the Zillow.
Excellent. Check your mic, Darryl.
Okay.
Nope. Tap it again.
I'm going to have to buy a new mic. Okay. Let's continue. We good?
Nope. I can only get feedback. Now I can hear you.
Now you can hear me? Okay, good.
Now I can hear you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Darryl, do you have, well, actually, I'm looking at it. Do you have anything in Spanish? So, yep.
Yes, if you look on the Power Program website, mostly everything, this is a webinar, so it's why it's not some of the things that are webinars that wouldn't apply. But if you go to, just I'll show you really quick. If I go to farming and self-promotion, anything that would go out to a civilian, like a community, like this is a flyer on the neighborhood market analysis. This is a Halloween certificate contest. There's Spanish versions of almost everything that gets mailed out or given out to the public. Next question, Julie.
What are 3 activities agents should be doing every day?
Talking to somebody who wants to buy a house, talking to somebody who wants to sell a house, and working a to-do list.
Excellent. Glenn said, you've got me. I'm signed up. I love it. Welcome, Glenn. Love asked, where in the classroom can we get the slides about Fsbo.com and the objection handling slides?
These slides that I just showed you on the Fsbo.com and where is it, Mastering Listing Point? All of these, number 1, they're going to be in the listing appointment. Number 2 is we're going to post these on the website for you. So I'll show you actually. So if I go back to the classroom and I go to listen, power agents, everything is organized in buckets, right? So if you need help on the list, like that would be a listing appointment, right? So what would you use? You'd use that on a listing appointment. So if I go to listing appointment, what you'll find is the article from USA Today. There's another version of the article from USA Today. There's the article by owner, Kobe Sambrato, which is the other one. So those articles that I just showed you are in these PowerPoint slides. They're graphics and stuff. But you'll find them in other places too. But that's the easiest place to find it. All right. Next question.
Darryl, if I have questions, where do I go?
Yeah, listen, we have the incredible, if any of you have dealt with customer service in other companies, you know how frustrating that could be. Now, we have on our website, we have an 800 number. So, and I'll be honest with you, it doesn't go directly to a live person right away, but we are awesome. Like if you leave a message, we'll call you back probably within 5 minutes. So we do have that now, but what's actually quicker is this, our chat. You'll see that this we respond under 5 minutes. Just so you know, that is we use Intercom, and Intercom rates us based on our responsiveness. So that 5 minutes is them saying that that's our average, right? Here's how it works, which is really good. So if you send a message, how it works, and when you type that message, everybody on my team, whoops, I just did it by mistake again. Everybody on my team, what happens is on their computers, because we have a lot of virtual people as well, their computers, it goes ding, and there's Sarah, she's going to respond. So their computer goes off, says, hey, like a doorbell, somebody's at the door, right? So whoever is the best person to handle the question. So for example, if you're a past power agent and you want to rejoin and you were to type that in here, everybody in the company would get your message, but the person best to handle it will respond. And in that case, it would be Gail. So, okay, next question, Julie.
I love it. So Joe says we get all of this for $47 a month. Are you kidding? Or is that correct?
Yeah. So the reason why we price it this way is because the work that we do, it's just a model that we're able to do. That's number one. Number two is we really went all in on this for agents when the pandemic hit. So as a company, when honestly, I'm being totally transparent with you, is when the pandemic happened, I took myself off the road for several reasons. And, anyway, so because of that, I said, but we need to help the industry. So what can we do? And so Julie and then we started hiring people to build the Power Program membership and to provide such an incredible asset for agents to help them get through the pandemic. And now we are at the next level, which is, I'm telling you, like right now, we are coming out of the pandemic. That's what I can tell you. That's what I believe. That's what I see. And I can tell you that inventory is going to go up. This is the breakthrough year. And so you have a partnership with me and my team to help you become a listing machine. So, we just touched upon what we did. And this is just, if I go back to that if I go back to that visual, where is it? So hang in there with me. I can't, where is it now? Oh my gosh, my computer. Hang on. If I go back to my slide deck here, this iceberg, what we just covered today is just the tip of the iceberg of what everything is there for you. So, okay. Next question, Julie.
I love it. Thank you. Joe says, thank you. I'm getting it today for $5. It's a no-brainer. I'll continue monthly. It's amazing. And we all appreciate your service. Thank you, Joe. That made our whole team smile.
Thank you.
Let's see. Greta says, thank you so much with everything. My question is, what do you do if you feel overwhelmed and you don't know where to begin?
Okay. So who asked that question?
Greta. She has a part 2 of that. I'm an experienced agent. I want to maximize my time. I know where to focus my efforts during small pockets of time to be more efficient. So she's feeling overwhelmed. She is an experienced agent, but how does she get started and not feel overwhelmed?
Yeah, so I was just having a tech problem with my slides, so I wanted
You're in good hands, Greta, while he figures that out.
Okay, so here's where I can show you. I'll launch those slides again in a second. But Greta, here's what I recommend that you do, especially for new agents, right, is that if you, first of all, as a new agent, you spend more than $50 a month on probably other things like cappuccinos and drive-in foods and stuff. So as a new agent, I encourage you to become a Power agent. There is an onboarding thing that we have here at Power headquarters. And one of our Power agents just on Facebook said, oh my God, I didn't realize how much this program is. I thought I knew it, but they took this onboarding. And what this does is it brings you step by step. It's a dual purpose, right? It's one purpose is to help you maximize being a Power agent and getting the most out of everything that we have, because it is a lot. And but the other thing that it does is because there's a lot of activity driven items, it helps you to actually increase your production as well. It's not written as a production program, but you will increase your production if you do everything step by step. And I'll give you, for instance, head over to the Power Agent directory. When you click on this task in this module, what it'll do is it'll bring you to the Power Agent directory, which I will tell everybody on this call that we are seeing a plethora. We're seeing about 5 deals a month of Power agents referring business to other Power agents. We did not build the directory for that purpose, and it turned out that that's what's happening. And so that assignment that I just clicked from said, hey, go to the directory and update your profile. You'll see some Power agents here like Aaron Clark hasn't done that. Shame on Aaron. But William has and Aaron has. And if I were to click on Aaron, what you would see is if I wanted to refer an agent in Pennsylvania, Aaron is working with Century 21 Advantage, a great company that I personally know. his awards that he has, the languages he speaks is English and real estate. And there's his bio. So I get that he's a little playful, which I like as well. So now Aaron is really positioned to get referrals from fellow power agents. And so that was one of those tasks that I just told, that's in the onboarding. You check it off. Anyway, that's so the answer to the question. If you feel overwhelmed, just be a power agent and let us hold your hand through the process. And, inch by inch, life's a cinch, yard by yard, it's hard. I'm going to say one last thing on this. I hope it's valuable for people, is that I want you to start to think of yourself not as a real estate salesperson, but as a business person. If you think of about a business, right, when you're going to open up a business, let's say it's a pizzeria, there's a lot you have to do. You've got to find the place, you've got to get the supplies, you've got to hire the team, you've got to, have the skill to make pizza and Italian dishes and pasta, and then you got to promote your business. So you've got all this stuff to do, and it takes months and months to build a business called pizzeria. So think of yourself as a business person. There is a lot to do, but you're not going to get it all done in the next 24 hours. It takes time, and you have to have a plan, and you have to implement it. And by the way, I just want to point something out. What I just did is I just used a metaphor, an analogy to communicate how to coach an agent who feels overwhelmed. And that's what I want you to become great at when you're doing listing appointments. The same exact thing. When a homeowner needs coaching, you're going to coach them. You're not going to close them. You're not going to sell them. You're going to coach them. You're going to find out what they're committed to, and you use metaphors and analogies to help communicate the point. Next question, Julie.
I love it. In today's National Pizza Day. So how apropos that you use that analogy.
If I ever want to know some odd day that the day is, Julie somehow.
I'm your girl. I'm your girl.
She knows when popcorn day is and chocolate day. And
today's chocolate day as well, just so you know.
No, it's not.
It is, actually. It is.
Really? You got to get out of the house, Nancy.
Listen, I've got ridiculous information in my brain. Beatrice says, thank you, Julie and Darryl. It's great information. I just signed up. I'm looking forward to using the material. And Monday's coaching call. What time is the coaching call?
The coaching call is at 11 o'clock. And I'm just trying to find the slides from today. It's 11 o'clock, the coaching calls. They go till 12. Well, they don't go to 12. So we used to do an hour. They go now on average almost 3 hours. So because just like this webinar, we end the webinar or the coaching call once everybody's questions are answered. So just to show you that, if I go to the classroom and where it says coaching calls, first of all, you can actually automate and save the schedule with the phone number and all that stuff in your calendar by clicking on one of these things, and it'll put it into your calendar. This is the call that we did recently. It was 2 hours. This one was 2 hours and 48 minutes. So we record it. We put it on the site for you so you can listen to it later. If you have a question, you can email your question in advance. This question in advance is kind of like the Disney Fast Pass before they messed it up. So it puts you at the top of the queue, and we'll answer the questions there first. Next question, Julie.
I love it. Alicia said, I just received a lead or a referral lead from being a power agent. That's awesome, Alicia. Good job for you putting your information in the directory.
Yeah, listen, if you're a power agent, man, you need to do your directory. If you go to Classroom, again, everything is alphabetical, and the magic is in Classroom, right? So if I think directory, that's a D. There you go. Bada bing. Directory. So everything's in the Classroom. The magazine is there, negotiating offers. You can take your own notes. I don't talk about this enough, but when you're learning from the webinar or something, you can open up a notepad and keep all your training notes in there. There's the print portal is there. The prospecting, if you're a new agent, we dedicated a portion over there for you. Refer a friend. We like it when you refer non-power agents to the program, tools, tech. We're not a tech company, but we got a lot of great resources for the beginner, especially on how to get acclimated to technology. The webinar registration, that page is awesome for power agents because I'll show you. So there's the coaching calls every Monday. This is Tuesday is tech troubleshoot. Like if you want to learn about the site and what we have, that's every Tuesday. This was today's webinar. And then next week we have, oh, that's a good one. Next week is how to create buyer loyalty and get buyers to sign a buyer agency agreement with you. Then we have a special hidden one just for power agents on how to do the follow-up. It has extraordinary results. Curtis does a great job when he ever teaches for us how to get your offer accepted. So those are the next few weeks for power agents as well.
And we've got some exciting power agent only. We're talking to experts in social media, experts in CRM. Like we're lining it up for this spring, guys. So make sure you check back on that page regularly. You just said how to refer a friend. Carol said, what if we want to bring somebody else on board? Can they get this trial as well?
Yeah, they should do it pretty quick. If you click on, this is how you do it. Everybody watch this. If you, because when we end this webinar, that little floating thing up on your computer screen right now is going to disappear. So what I would do is click on it now to at least open it up on your tab, right? So, and have it there. Then what you can do is copy and paste that and send it to another agent. Say, I just saw this is $5. It's ridiculously cheap. And if you don't like the guy, sign up and next day cancel, but you'll get all this good stuff for $5.
Love it.
Just told you how to rip me off. Yes.
Don't do that. Yes, but you won't want to because we're lovely and you will feel like you're supported and you've got everything you need. Susan says every day is chocolate day. You're our people, Susan. We love that. Denise wants to know if it's 11 a.m. Eastern time. Yes, it's on Eastern time, Denise. And like he said, you can click on those calendars and it'll actually sync with your time zone.
Yes. So when you click on that coaching call, and then if you press that, add it to my Google Calendar or Outlook or Apple or whatever that is. It's Apple. It will automatically populate based on your time zone.
Excellent. Is RedX trial included in your power agent trial?
Yes. Well, yes and no, meaning that if you're a new power agent, you have the 30-day trial with RedX, but it doesn't happen at the same time. So you initiate it, right? So let's say you become power agent today, $5, and you want to get your sea legs a little bit with the program for a couple of weeks and then join RedX. So you activate your 30 days with RedX whenever you want. It doesn't force you. So that controls when you'll actually start using RedX, which is good, right? So you can do the power program. Here's what I recommend. I can't stress this enough. I hope I conveyed this point. I know we had these tech challenges in the beginning and stuff, but man, oh man, I really hope I conveyed to you guys those slides. And I just want to show it again because it's that important. We are going to see an uptick in listing inventory. You'll see January starts it, right? So January, February, March. So really in March and April, we're going to see the huge surge of listing inventory coming. So everything that you do now in the next 30 days is going to position you to become a listing machine. So it's not too late for you to have a breakthrough in your business because it hasn't happened yet, but it's going to. So this is the time for you to work on fine-tuning your listing appointment, getting your dialogue, start practicing with Fsbos. Like there may not be a lot or old Fsbos. So anyway, let's do this together, okay? Because I'm there every Monday for you, right? Every Monday you'll be hearing this. Every Wednesday you'll hear this. Plus, I didn't even talk about this. We send you emails that are training emails every 5 days a week, where we focus on one thing, one message, and so we're helping managing you and what you should be focused on doing basically every day. And some of you get personal text from you. You have to opt into my text, but I'll text you at least twice a week, motivational things. So anyway, you're going to get a ton of support. You're not going to be alone. And yes, it's only $47. What is that? $1.50 a day. So
it is. It's and on leap year, it's $1.47. Shelley did the math.
Okay, I do have very creative people on my team that come up with things like that I would never think to do. Hey, let's figure out what it is in the leap year. All right.
Ida says $47 a month. Information is available 24/7. Something is new every day. It feels like our team is responsive. It's a bargain. I mention you, Darryl, to my team every day, and so will your guests. Thank you, Ida.
Thank you, Ida. You're a sweetheart. Appreciate you.
I love it. Thanks for all the great information. Maria, your questions have not been, I believe I texted some of those. So Maria, if you want to resend your question. Oh, can you show us the magazine? Yes.
Oh, the magazine? Okay. So the magazine. So if you're a guest, you're going to get this magazine emailed to you. And we're not professional publishers, right? Meaning that this is not loaded with ads. There are some ads, but for the most part, these are training articles. And one of the features that we have with this as well is that wherever it's possible or appropriate, this is a really good article, by the way, about how to get higher, increase your sales price. This is good. Well, they're all good. But there's some links. Like, for example, if you need a CRM, here's the CRM for power agents. If I click on it, it'll bring me right to that website. So some of the things in here are interactive. You can hover over it and actually bring you to a certain page or a certain part of the program. So there's the business plan. Like if you click there, that'll bring you to the business plan there. But there are only 5 ads. That's a picture of my son. I will tell you, this article is really great about you having a breakthrough in overcoming fear on calling Fsbos unexpired. So that's in there for you. What page is that? 20-something, 27. Anyway, so this is the magazine, and it's 48 pages, and I'm on page 32. So a lot of great stuff. So
fantastic. When you advise us to do newsletters, do you think it's better to physically mail them or create a bulk mailer campaign?
I think it's better. What you can do is, if you're a power agent, you can use the Power Print portal, which I don't know if I want to click on that. Yeah, that's fine. So you can do a mass mailing through the Power Agent Print portal. You can upload your image. You can actually purchase the mailing list when you go there. So we recommend you doing mass, because doing individuals, the secret in marketing and mailings and promotion is the numbers. It's a numbers game, right? So it's better than buying leads, because you're branding yourself. And I'm going to tell you one other thing, a tip here. Studies show that you have to mail people at least 4 to 6 times for them to actually start to respond. So we came up with this thing called Supercharged Mailing. And what that means is, instead of you doing the traditional once a month, in the first 60 days, you do every other week. So you'll mail, you wait 2 weeks, you do another mail, wait 2 weeks, do another mail, wait 2 weeks. So you bada bing, you're hitting them every 2 weeks for 8 weeks. When you do the math, you've now done 4 mailings. So within just 60 days, you can start generating some revenue instead of waiting 4 months with that month to month. So that's my suggestion for you. Next question, Julie.
I love it. Can you edit these materials?
Oh, I didn't even talk about that today. So let me show you that Zestimate thing. So I'm going to open up that Zillow postcard, the Zestimate. I can't believe I didn't mention that. So let's say, and I don't know if this is a good example. Yeah. So let's say you don't like what we wrote here. Zestimates is, let's say you don't like that we did it in red. So you want to do it a different color. How about blue? Bada bing, there it is. Let's say you don't like that it's called the Neighborhood Market Report. You want to call it a competitive market analysis. I can't spell competitive. So the point here is every letter, down to the spaces, down to the periods, you can, watch it. You don't like any of this? Just get rid of it. You can delete it and put something else over here. Now, I'll tell you something else. Because of that, if I copied, and I'm going to copy, and let's pretend I'm in Facebook, and I want to post that in Facebook, I just posted that, bada bing. So everything on our site, you can edit it, copy it, dice it, slice it, reuse it, and bada bing, merge, and there's so much you can do with it. And you can't do that with other companies. These other companies, you got to learn a whole new software, and it's online, and this you can save on your computer. You can save different versions. We really open this up where it make it easier for you. Next question.
Absolutely. And a lot of our agents actually copy and paste that information and use it on their blogs. They use it in their social media. They use, so And that's a smart thing to do. That's called multi-channel marketing, right? So it's a great way to repurpose things in different ways. So like you said, you've got those touch points faster because you're reaching them in different ways.
I will tell you, if I go to the farming as an example, just real quick to say this one last thing, and we'll go to the next question. If let's say this is the 7 ways to appeal to the next generation of buyers. So I'm opening up this PowerPoint item. It's a flyer, and you wanted to do it as a mailing, or you wanted to do it as something to drop off on a listing appointment. But the 7 ways you can actually copy and paste this and use it on social media, Facebook, Instagram. Like you can create articles from this, post it on your website. This one piece that I have right here, I can use it as an email. I can take this one piece and use it at least 6 different ways. And that's just this one piece. We have 7 or 600 pieces. So, all right, next question.
I love it. Since most objections by Fsbos is commission, who would pay for my services? Or if they insist on selling themselves and I represent a buyer, who would pay? Can you explain that?
Okay, that's going to be a little bit longer answer to that question. So because you're asking a couple of different questions in there. First of all, a homeowner who they shouldn't sell on their own, period. So they're going to want to pay a fee. And so if you're talking to a seller to get them as a listing, you need to convey that by them paying you whatever percentage you charge, they still are going to net more money. So you have to believe that and be able to communicate that. And if you're a power agent, there's plenty of examples of that. Now, if let's say you have a buyer who wants to buy a house and it's a Fsbo and there is no commission or you simply work the commission into the contract price. So you would still negotiate with the seller what they want, right? So if the seller wants, $500,000, and you should have a buyer agency agreement with your buyers, and they understand that you're going to get paid a certain commission. And because it's not a listing, you're only going to negotiate your selling commission. And let's say that's 3% times 5 is 15,000. The contract price is going to be $515,000. Actually, be a little bit more if you do a percentage. But anyway, and you'll get your $15,000 at closing. The seller still gets what they want. The buyer gets the house. You get paid. That's the short answer to that. Next question.
And we cover a lot of that on those coaching calls. Like we can go deep in on these kind of questions on the coaching calls on Monday.
Yeah, see, the thing about that's different on the coaching calls versus this webinar, the webinar, I'm basically teaching one way, right? So I'm giving you content. I can't see you or hear you and Whereas the coaching calls, you take yourself off mute. You and I have a dialogue. Julie's not asking for you. I can ask you questions. You can answer it. We can role play it. So the coaching calls are different. You get a lot more from that. Next question.
Wonderful. Can I email the flyers, Darryl?
Yes, you can email the flyers.
Awesome. What do you think is better, to email the newsletters or physically mail them?
I think mailing is better. I think you should still email. You should have email campaigns. You should have consistent emails that you're sending out. But you should, the newsletter should be in the mail. And the reason why is because the internet and social media and is very noisy. Emails are noisy. We send out, I don't know if any of you realize, like the emails that we sent you to invite you to this webinar, you probably received several. And some of you only may have noticed it today or yesterday, right? But you got several before that. So that's the problem with emails and social media. It's so noisy. Now the mailbox there's very little competition. Like I don't have hardly any agent. I get more mailings from power agents than local agents in this marketplace. So you have less competition in the mailbox. And even if an agent does once in a while send something, 1 or 2 pieces in your farm area out of 30 days, there's still a lot of room for you to get into that mailbox. So to answer your question, yeah. And by the way, let me just show you the newsletters. These look at all the letters. There's so many letters. And these are series of letters. Fsbos, how many do we have here? 12 letters for Fsbos. And then there's expireds. But here's the newsletters. Let's go to March. And just to show you as an example on how you can customize it and how you can use the the newsletter for multiple purposes. So when I open up this newsletter, which is ready now, and it's similar to what I showed you earlier. So here is the 5 tips and tricks to make spring cleaning more effective. And then on the back of the newsletter is salad dressing and how to organize your pantry, da, da, da. So let's say I like this article about spring cleaning. I can then take this and actually post it on Facebook. I can copy and paste it and put it in my email. I can email the whole flyer. I can actually save this, save as a different format, like a JPEG, like a PDF, use it as an image on Facebook. I can slice and dice the heck out of that one newsletter and use it for so many things. But to answer your question, newsletters, I think, especially in this market, and there's where you customize it. You should mail them. Next question.
Well, and even in that little tip for you, that where you've got like 5 tips and tricks to make it, right? So you could do, if there's 5, you could do one tip a day in your social media for 5 days, and that could be like a campaign for you in your social media, right? So
wait a second. You know what else you could do, Julie? You could do, if you want to do some video blogging.
Yeah.
You could take this 5 tips and tricks to make your spring cleaning more effective. Let me share tip number 1, plan your work and work your plan. And there, we wrote the script for you. Just read what we wrote and say, tomorrow I'll share with you tip 2 about the certain cleaning supplies that you should have. And I mean, I personally would not do a video blog on spring cleaning, but there are the other newsletters. There's some really great stuff that you can video blog as well.
I love it. It's a great way to build your YouTube channel as well. So it's powerful stuff. And we have a webinar, and the webinar's on demand with Jennifer Darling, who's a LinkedIn expert, and she teaches you how to take your guides and things and upload them to LinkedIn to really get some Google juice there. So that's in the webinars on demand.
I'm going to that now.
You go to it. Oh, and also Christy Murdoch is in there. Whatever you do, like we just had an agent in our Facebook group that talked about how Christy helped her with her bio, rewriting her bio, and she's knocking it out of the park after that.
What's her name?
Well, Jennifer Darling is the LinkedIn expert. And
hang on,
Jennifer.
No, it's not showing up. So, what's the name of the webinar?
LinkedIn.
So there it is. So. Yeah, because she's not in the title. So I want to teach everybody a little secret. So when you're on a browser and you want to find something on that page, if you hit Control F5, if you can see in the upper right-hand corner, this little window pops up. So I'll do it again, Control F5, there it is. And I just typed in link. I just jumped to how to generate LinkedIn leads using your Power Agent content. What was the other one, Julie?
Would be bios. So you actually got it right there in that same line, Christy Murdoch.
Christy Murdoch, yeah, she did an incredible job. And I know some of our power agents actually hired her to write the bio for them. And they are bragging the heck out of how awesome she is, because she writes like a story and does such an incredible job. And she's not like expensive. So anyway, there's that for you as well.
I love it. Lakia asked, does the 30 days of the CRM start right away, or can I start that later after I've got more clients to manage?
You can start later.
I love it. Do you have a checklist of best practices? Asked Dean. And I would say the onboarding is really the best way to lean into best practices and best tools in the system.
Yes, I agree with that, Julie.
Do you recommend checking out comps on expireds and Fsbos before making a phone call? These sellers are getting 20 to 50 calls the first day, and time is up.
Okay, great question. Whoever asked that.
Linda,
listen to me, Linda. A huge mistake, that agents make is trying to get ready to make the call. And one of those getting ready is to check out the address, check out the style, look at the price, look at the history, kind of get a sense of the homeowner, get a sense of the pricing in relationship to it. because what you're doing is wasting time, and you're going to find a reason why you don't think you should call them. You think they may not be serious. They may be overpriced. You'll find a way to sabotage yourself. Just make the call, because let me tell you something. Part of why making calls to Fsbos or expireds and everything else is not even just building a relationship with another human being, which could translate into getting an appointment, which could translate into getting a listing. There's another reason why you should make the call. And that is for you to have a personal breakthrough in who you are and the fear that's got you. That to me is even the biggest, because you show me an agent who has no fear of the telephone, I'll show you somebody who's going to make six figures, period. Because if they can break through that fear, they have no problem having a communication, a conversation, of negotiating offers like they are real estate. That to me is the real value. So stop, get on the phone, get in motion, make the calls. Don't worry about doing it right. Don't worry about saying the right things. Just get on the playing field. You know, real estate is like a sport. I'm not into sports, but if I use football as an analogy, because again, that's what I do. There's people that are playing on the field, and then there's people sitting in the bleachers looking on the field, commenting about the field, opinionating about the field. They think they're at the game, playing the game, but they're not. They're in the bleachers. It's the one that's on the field, making mistakes, getting tackled, getting hurt, all that stuff. Those are the players. I want you to be a player. So get off the bleachers and onto the field.
That's right. And don't kill off possibilities. We kill off possibilities, right, when we do that.
That's right.
I am a broker. Can my realtors, my agents, get a discount to the monthly fee? How does that work?
Use the chat. So we have a chat here. We do have what's called a broker block for brokers who want to pay for seats for their agents. And so if you just use that chat and say, I'm a broker and I'd like to discuss the broker block, Gail will be the one who will also respond to you on that, and she'll explain the pricing and the levels. The more seats you buy, the bigger the discount.
Wonderful. Are there monthly newsletters loaded in Power Builder? I could not find them. So I can answer that if you want, Darryl. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we don't load the newsletters that are on the site into Power Builder, because Power Builder has its own monthly newsletter. You can. It's a simple process to upload it and use the ones that are on the site. What a lot of our power agents do is they send the physical newsletter that's on the site. They send that in the mail, and they use the Power Builder webinar or Power Builder newsletter as an email newsletter. So they
So Julie, though I thought that April did have the newsletters put in. At least that was part of the plan.
I'm not sure.
So here's what I can tell you. If you go into Power Builder and you go to the email campaigns, they're sorted in, and they will say who the author is, and the author will be either Julie or the Power Program, or you can search newsletter, or you can also same thing. So I appreciate Julie's helping on that, but also Gail or April will handle that question, because I think that we do have the newsletters in. And if not, we will get them in for you. And if they're not, and you don't want to wait for us, you can do it yourself like Julie was explaining it. But if it's not in there, let us know, and I promise you we will get it in there. Next question.
Fantastic. Will you be emailing us a recording of today's presentation? How can I review this and get the slides?
Once you become a power agent, so if you click on that floating thing over there, become a power agent, you'll be getting an email that will have today's webinar and get the slides as well.
Fantastic. Janet asked, how would you address, why should I pay you more than other real estate companies are charging you?
Well, you've got to, so when you're talking to a homeowner, there's two levels, two areas of buy-in the homeowner needs to do. The first one, which most agents don't do, that's why they're not good with Fsbos. The first buy-in is the homeowner has to buy into Realtor. Remember how I said that earlier to this webinar? If they don't even buy into our profession, our industry, you're wasting your time talking about the second level. So they first have to see the importance of working with Realtor. So what you do on a listing appointment with Fsbos is you've got to validate Realtor. You use the USA Today, the Colby Sembrado, the Buyowner.com, stuff like that. The Kelly Blue Book, as far as selling a car privately or at a dealership. There's all of these analogies that we have for you for a homeowner to say, yeah, you're right, I need a professional. Then you talk about how you're different. So why should they pick you over somebody else? Listen, I'll be honest with you, Mr. and Ms. Hanani, you're right. Most agents have pretty much the same thing. There's variations, and some companies have more than others. But we all have access to MLS. We all have access to the internet. We all have lockbox and photos and etc. Just like this pen. This pen is a pen. Now, I would give the homeowner the pen. I said, do me a favor, Mr. and Mrs. Hanahana. I want you to take this pen and write the word sold. So the homeowner writes the word sold. And then I would say, all right, let me try. So I would take the pen and I would do it differently. I'd do a script. I'd say, Mr. and Mrs. Hanahana, as you can tell, with the same pen, we got two different results. See, it's not MLS that gets your house sold. It's not Broker's Open House or Public Open House that gets your house sold. That's the tool. It's how you use the tool. And I know how to use the tool called MLS, yard sign, lockbox, Broker's Open. Let me show you what I mean. And then I go to my marketing tools. And let me tell you something, everybody. I cannot tell you. If I got $1 every time a homeowner said what I'm about to tell you, that alone I'd make money. I'd be a millionaire. A homeowner would say, interrupt me during the listing appointment and say, you know what, just give me the paperwork. And I would say, okay, you ready to get the ball rolling? He said, yes, and here's why. Because no one has ever explained it to me this way. And you know how that is? I use metaphors and analogies to explain every one of my marketing tools. And it sounds better, it sounds different, it sounds more effective. So, your question about why are you different from another agent to commit? Why should I pay you to commit? They won't ask you. They won't say that to you if you do what I'm telling you, and that's explain your marketing using metaphors and analogies. Anyway, next question.
And Darryl actually we have a 103 slide listing presentation where he actually goes through, and there's a video explaining the entire listing presentation using metaphors and analogies in detail.
Which you guys will get. Like if you're a guest, you're going to get that today for $5. So
the whole thing.
Compare it.
Right, exactly. If I'm trying to lead gen in a new area, can you show us the seller's guide to real estate?
Sure. So now let me show you something else. If Power Agent, you ever get confused, where the heck is everything? Just use that search, man. Type in the word guide, right? And let's see what comes up. Bada bing, seller's guide postcard. Seller's guide landing page setup. Seller's guide social media. Buyer's guide, e-guide, seller's guide to real estate. There it is. Okay, so now this is a big file. So it's going to take a minute for it to load. It says it's going to take 7 minutes. So while it's taking 7 minutes, because it's big, because it's not just the file, but it is the.
It's beautiful, right?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I want you to see, as you're looking at that slide, all of that stuff can be edited. So if you don't like something we worded or the way we worded it, or blah blah blah, you just cut it up, edit it. Okay. Next question, Julie.
Expireds and Fsbos are low in my market. What benefit can I still get from your program?
Okay, well, so that's a great question. So here's what I'll tell you. This program is not, look, this is what you get in the program. So I'm answering your question. How to work with buyers, how to farm, self-promote yourself, do mailings, how to do a listing appointment, how to negotiate offers, how to handle objections, how to prospect, not just Fsbos and expireds, but I'll show you in a second. How to use social media, what tech you should do, how to manage your time. So this is not a Fsbo and expired training program. So that's the first thing. My strength is Fsbos and expireds because that's how I built it. But that's how I built my business. But I'm a real estate professional. if you want to learn how to landscape, right? So a landscaper, I'm doing an analogy, by the way. So a landscaper knows how to fertilize, knows different plants and how to water and what plants need what kind of water, but they're a landscaper. They might have particular types of bushes or plants that they like to use because it's their personal favorite. So they know a little bit more about that and they talk a little bit more about that, but they're a landscaper. I'm a real estate coach and trainer. So even though I know this plant called Fsbos and expireds, that's what I love the most, I'll show you how to be a great landscaper and how to build a business that blooms. That's what I can help you with. But here's the other thing I'm going to say. And now the tab is circling. Here, I will tell you this one thing for people who say there's not a lot of Fsbos or expireds in my market. I will bet you a year membership there's a lot more than you realize. See, unless you're working Fsbos and expireds, committed to working Fsbos and expireds, like you don't really know how much that. You think you know. Here's how I can tell you. Look at how many new listings. Let's do it this way. Go to your MLS and look at how many new listings came on the market in the last 30 days. Okay? Now, after you do that, how many did you list? If it wasn't a lot of those, that's what you're missing out. There's business out there. You got to go get it. So now one last thing is the Fsbos and expireds. You can also, with RedX, you can go back months and months and months. So there you can out the gate, you can have dozens upon dozens of leads. It may be hundreds, depending where you are in the market. Next question, Julie.
Oh, the other cool thing about RedX, though, is that they now provide where you can role play with them, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so when you're ready to start calling, RedX has this thing where they will do role plays with you so they can be the seller and they can be however mean you want them to be, and then you practice on them and it gets you in the game and ready. You know how like at the sports, where I'm not into sports, I told you, but like baseball, you've got, or even in football. In football, you'll see the kicker. I guess that's what he's called. But he's over in a corner somewhere, and he's warming up, and he's kicking into a net. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, Julie. How am I doing here? Anyway, whatever the hell all that is, that's the kicker getting ready to go out on the field. So anyway, RedX has the same thing before we call Fsbos expired. By the way, I just used another metaphor, a really bad one, because I don't know what I was talking about, but there you go.
I love it. Beatrice wants to know when the next webinar is. She's got
next Wednesday.
It.
We're here every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
Webinar Wednesdays. That's
Webinar
my life.
Wednesday. Let's see. I guess I use RedX. I only use it for farming because expireds and Fsbos are rare in Colorado.
So RedX also has this thing called GeoLeads where you can do mailings. Listen, I'm going to tell you a couple of things. First of all, I just, until you really, it may be true that there aren't a lot of Fsbos and expireds in your market. So it could be true. But do me a favor, don't kill off possibility for yourself. What I like you to do is really dig in and really look, right? Like if you did RedX for 30 days and have them go and scour what's out there, there may be more Fsbos and expireds than you realize. Now, if that's not the case, then yes, you have other things to do that you can generate listing leads. It's not just Fsbos and expireds. As I showed you, there's houses for rent. There's calling around new listings, cold calling in a farm area, smile gifts, the neighborhood open house, calling vendors for leads, calling orphans, calling old friends. There's other things you can do to shake the trees. Here's the point, gang, is the listings are coming. So as I said here, we are going to see a surge always after January, February, March, April, the next several months, we're going to see a surge of listings. So I don't care what you do, calling Fsbos, expireds, whatever. I need you to get out there and start getting them people. Here's the definition of self-promotion, is to have people know your name, face, and what you do for a living. And I don't care how you do it, but be consistent with it. Okay. Next question, Julie.
I love it. Silly question. Do you recommend putting a flyer in an envelope or fold and add labels?
I prefer absolutely in an envelope. And the reason why I prefer in an envelope, I'm trying to find, unfortunately, I have a clean desk, so I can't find anything that I have. But First of all, when you do a self-mailer, it's going to get damaged. It gets received. Remember, this is marketing. It says something subliminally to the person receiving it that this was the cheap and easy and quick way to do it. You see, you don't want to convey that message. The post office is probably going to screw it up as well. It'll get tanned, but when you stick it in an envelope, it's nice envelope. And here's what happens when somebody, and this is why, according to Direct Mail Marketing Association, that direct mail actually has a higher return on investment than internet, emails, and everything else. Here's why. Part of the reason why is when a person opens up, unseals that envelope, takes that item out, then actually folds it up. They've made a mental and emotional commitment to actually reading it because of all the action they just took to discover what it is. So anyway, that's why letters are better than postcards too. Now, I'm not saying not to do postcards, but letters in envelopes has a higher rate of return than postcards. And just to finish on that is, remember I said that supercharged mailing campaign where you, instead of doing monthly, in the first 60 days, you do every other week? What you could do to save money is the first mailing is a letter in an envelope introducing yourself. 2 weeks later, do a postcard. 2 weeks later, do another letter in an envelope. 2 weeks later, do a postcard. So you can do half and half to help save some money. Okay, next question.
I love it. Nancy's been a power agent for a couple of months, realtor for a couple of years, up against very seasoned agents for a listing. How do I show my value?
I can't hear you, Julie, so I don't know if you're talking away from your microphone or something, but you don't sound clear anymore.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Nancy says she's a power agent for 2 months, a realtor for 2 years. She's up against very seasoned agents for listings. How does she show her value versus them?
Well, okay, that's also a big, that's almost like a one-on-one coaching question, only because it's really like that we'd have to really look at. There's a lot to look at to answer that. But I'll give you a couple of suggestions of things to look at. Is look at that agent's production, their average list price to sales price ratio, days on market, number of expireds if they have any. So try and find a kink in their armor. No one is perfect and number one on everything. So, and they may be number one in 2021, but in the month of January, their numbers look horrible, or the last 2 weeks they look horrible. So try and find, I'm not about talking bad about other agents. You don't build the tallest building by knocking down others. But if you are in a listing appointment and you are faced where you have to do a comparison, find the weakness in them and the strength in yours. That's the biggest suggestion I have. The other thing is, don't forget, is that people list with people. They don't list with companies. They don't list with production. You know, you could argue, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Hunt, like I'll give you an honest one. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Hunt, you're right. There's no doubt that agent, they have a lot of listings. But here's what I can tell you about me, is that you're going to get more service, you're going to get more dedication, you're going to get more one-on-one with me. I'm going to eat, sleep, and drink you. I'm going to go about what you're trying to accomplish. I'll go to bed thinking about you, you're getting you moved to Florida, and when I wake up in the morning, I'll be committed to that as well. Bigger is not always better. You know, the Titanic was a beautiful big boat, but I suggest if they were a U-boat, they could have saved themselves. I'm like a U-boat, and I'd say that agent is. The problem with something big is that it takes longer to be responsive to the client. They have a lot more responsibilities, a lot more other clients. They've got a lot more other expenses to deal with, so they don't move as quick. You hire me, I'm going to be a U-boat. I'm going to be responsive, and I'm going to do my best to help you get to Florida. And nobody will be more dedicated to you than I will. Something like that. I just made that up out of my head.
I love me a U-boat analogy.
So, but there you go. There's an example. Let me tell you something, gang. Metaphors and analogies, you know, I'll teach you a whole bunch, but sometimes the best ones are on those Monday coaching calls, or like now, like Julie, I just made that U-boat one up. what happens, there's a great show called Whose Line Is It Anyway? They're not running it anymore, but it's great. Anybody who's seen the show is fun because they're comedians and they're given a scenario, and then they would have to make it up a scene on the spot. And some of the stuff is just incredible. It's so creative. But let me tell you something, that whole performance thing and doing improv, it's a skill that you develop. And the more you do it, the better, like the quicker you are. And the same is true in a listing appointment using metaphors. So like today, some of you, this is like a breakthrough. Like, oh my God, metaphors, analogies. I don't have to memorize script, right? So now, well, what am I going to do? What metaphors? Don't worry. You'll learn. The first is awareness. And then always think, if you're going to think of something, a metaphor that you can use to communicate that. And actually, we have something, Julie, we should put out there for the power agents. There is, actually, it's for anybody. You can go to our blog and look up the word form. I think it is the article on how to create a metaphor. Form, F stands for family. I forgot what the other ones were. It was a new article I just discovered that we wrote. But anyway.
We like to do those things when you're not paying attention.
When I'm not paying attention, my company creates stuff. Darryl, you said this thing, so we wrote an article about it. So
and back to that, I know she was a power agent, and I've misplaced her name all of a sudden. But when you're up against other agents, we do have an agent qualifier, and it's a great piece. So look that up in the classroom. All right.
By the way, so I remember what form was. So form was like you would look at when you're talking to somebody, a listing, you would think of an analogy by looking at their family. That's the F. The O is their occupation, what they do for the living, which, by the way, that is the best one. If you more times than not, you can use the seller's job, what they do for a living, to be a metaphor for what you're talking about on the listing. The R, I believe, is relationship. Oh, recreation. So what are their hobbies? What do they do, right? If they're a golfer, if they love football, whatever their recreation is, you can create a metaphor from that. And the last one is M for memory. So if they shared any memory about their kids going to school or going to college, or the kids learning something like a trip that they went on. So it's family, occupation. What's the R again? Recreation and memory. So that form will help you think of a metaphor analogy on the spot during a listing appointment. Next question, Julie.
Wonderful. Marianne says, I need a marketing plan for a new farm. I just bought a vacation home in a golf community. It's 2 hours from my primary. There's 2 agents dominating the community. However, neither of them live in the community. Should I start a farm here and start to market, or should I pick a neighborhood at my primary and farm there?
Well, that's a great question. I would so do the area that you love, that you live in. Now, because let me tell you. So watch this. So let's go back to the analogy. Let's say you wanted to open up a pizzeria, right? And there's another pizzeria in town, but you live in town. Are you going to not open up a pizzeria? You're going to go to the next town? Well, there's probably a pizzeria there too. So don't worry about that there's competition. Now, are you going to take some little extra time in doing that? Yes, but you have something that they don't have. You have something they don't have. You live in the area. So I would so do that. I would build on that. It's going to take some time, just like building any business. So I'd start doing some mailings, introduce yourself, join the Facebook group, comment on people's comments. If people need help looking for a landscaper or whatever, help them in the group in the face. So don't be needy. Say, oh, I need a listing, or I'm looking, so contribute to the Facebook group, do some door knocking. Then you're going to start to see some inquiries start coming. They get a little bit more aggressive, saying you're the realtor that lives in the neighborhood, have a vested interest in your success. So you start to build your marketing, but just start getting in front of people's faces. Next question, Julie.
I love it. What do you think about every door direct mail?
Not a real fan of it, because where you save some money, you wind up losing. For people that don't know how that works, is imagine a post person that delivers their route. So they have a route of whatever, 500 homes. and you have another guy has their route of 700 homes, right? And let's say the farm you want to work is in between the two. That's the addresses you want to hit. It don't matter. You got to send it to everybody. Whatever their route is, your thing is going in there. So even though you're saving money per piece, you've got to do more pieces, and there's a lot of waste. And now, if you want to get that whole area of that route, and if there's 2-3 routes, you want all that, then yes, it makes sense. So just make sure you're not sending it to people's houses that you don't care about, because you're just wasting money in printing and per piece. Yeah. Next question, Julie.
Darryl, do we have to sign a contract?
With us? No. We're month to month. Because here's how I feel. First of all, I tell agents, let me tell you that if you're going to buy leads, you're going to subscribe to something or whatever, do not sign up for a contract, because they're trying to lock you in. Here's our feeling. If we're good, you're going to want to stay. And if we're not good, you don't want it. And we don't want you to stay locked in. We don't need you to be locked in. We don't need your 47. Trust me, our business and my life is not going to be impacted one way or the other if an agent comes or goes. So we want you to choose to be here, to participate, and for us to help you. We want to, and I got to tell you, I think this is why our power agents, there's something, I don't know, they're a very loving, caring group. You can see it in the Facebook group. There's a lot of encouragement, back slapping, awesome, and celebrate. It's like a family. It's a weird thing. We actually created a logo called the Power Agent Family, because it feels like that.
Yep.
Because people are here because they want to be here. And so I invite you to try it for 30 days and see if you may not like this family, and it may not help you, and it may not be valued. So you go on to something else. That's it. This is good. Listen, I'm not the only.
Listen, we're not going to fight about politics over the turkey dinner. It's a good family.
Right, that's right. Listen, there's
other $5. Your business is worth it, right? So your career is worth it. And
there's other coaches. There's plenty of coaches out there. Not plenty. There's a handful of good ones. I'm not going to mention my colleagues. We probably know, but they have different styles. One is just referrals. One is just for top producers. One is totally about scripts and hard sell and close. So everybody's got a different style. My style is, I don't like scripts. Metaphors, analogies is the way to go. I talk from my heart. I'm not politically correct. I care about our students. So this is if this is a good play. We connect, good. If not, you should quit and not pay it. So we don't. The long answer to the question is there's no contract.
Well, we earn. That's our goal. Is we earn your business every day. We help agents feel like they're not by themselves, like they're not flying solo, like they don't have options. It's
by the way, Julie, let me just say, any power agent that's still on the call with us, do me a favor, throw out in the Q&A your thoughts about what I just said. What do you think? Would you tell the non-power agents? What do you think? Is this good value? Is it a good family? Is it good encouragement? Do you like it? So share what you like right now in the Q&A, because we record these. I like to read them anyway. So does Julie and the team. We pass it around. So all right. While that's going, Julie, what other questions do we have?
Our Smile Squad loves it. Do you have any tips on hiring a marketing coordinator or assistant? I think we're looking to do a power agent only webinar on that as well here coming in the spring.
Yeah, we do have a vendor that we recommend that you can save a ton of money called VirtueDesk. You can save the setup fee. It's waived. It's $450. And so we have that exclusively for our power agents for building a team. But we are planning on doing a member only exclusive on that as well.
I love it. Where can I find a chart for the current Fsbo versus listed? I believe that's in farming, and I think we just got a new one from NAR, so we try to update that regularly, Gail.
Which one? What?
The Fsbo versus versus agent assisted prices. So we pull the stats from NAR on a regular basis, and we put that into like your social media, etc. Edgar says, the best presentation I've seen from so many out there. Thank you.
And listen, between you and I, because you guys have stayed this long, which we appreciate it. It was a very when we get off this, our team's going to talk about, we're going to cry a little bit because all the tech problems we had in the beginning, my mic not working and the thing, I had some other things you don't even know behind the scenes. It was a little, so anyway, thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And would it shock you to tell you this was not our best? It's true. This was not our best one. So anyway, next question, Julie.
Deborah, I missed your answer on mailing of the flyers. So I think Deborah's question was, should I put it in an envelope? And his answer was yes, Deborah.
Absolutely. Put it in an envelope.
Program. Patricia says it's 100,000 plus great value. Just this one webinar is worth the money. Thank you, Patricia. Joe says, I'm signed up. I'm editing my buyer's guide already. Simple and direct. Perfect for a first-time buyer. You just signed up, Joe. I just saw it come through and you're already editing. I love that. You're a go-getter. That's fantastic.
Wait a second. Let me show them the buyer's guide. Anybody that's still on, I'm glad you're still
on. Keep in mind, we are training today.
There is a Spanish version, right? I told you there's a lot of versions of for Spanish or English, but let me show you the buyer's guide. Now, this is probably going to take a while to open because it's also a big one. Yeah, it's going to take a minute. But this buyer guide, as it's getting loaded, I will tell you, this was actually written like a book, like step 1, step 2. Like it brings a buyer through the process from I'm just starting to look to actually writing a contract. And everything that we give you is for you to use and to plagiarize. If you're a power agent, it's a registered trademark by my company. I have our trademark attorneys on speed dial. And so if anybody uses power agent that's not a power agent, they hear from our attorney. So if you're a power agent, you get to call yourself. You can use all of this. It's yours. Now, so you should use this like you wrote it. So here's the buyer's guide. I want to show you this. Now, here, whoops, sorry. There's the table of contents. Understanding the housing market. Pre-purchase preparation. Let the house hunting begin. And then it goes through all of this stuff. And you're looking at houses. What purchase the home through a builder. Making an offer on the home. I'm sorry, I keep doing that. Purchasing and closing. It's 35 pages. Let me just go page by page here, just so you can see the type of quality. This is just this one guide. But once again, you can print this out, bring it to open houses and give it as a value-added thing at the open house. I suggest, though, you actually only have one of these at the open house and you show a buyer saying, yeah, listen, are you serious about I wrote this book or I have this book, if you don't want to say that you wrote it, for buyers to help them in this process. Would you like a copy of this? And they say yes. You say, okay, great. Let me get your email. I'll email it to you. And what's your address again? If I can, maybe I'll mail you a printed version. So this is a good way to get their real email because they may have given the wrong one or maybe they didn't fill out the form. So this is a little enticement thing. And when you print this out, you bind it, it looks beautiful. And that's just the buyer's guide. So there you go.
You know, another thing that our power agents have done, and we've got some signs in the classroom as well, is they will print up a sign with a QR code that takes people to a landing page. So that the people that come in through your open house, they click on that QR code. It takes them to a landing page. They fill the information out, and they get the buyer's guide emailed to them. It's bingo bango, and I love it. So
bingo bango.
Well, you said bada bing. I had to do something different, right?
Well, now we're going to add that to the bingo card.
To the bingo card, exactly. Edgar says, I really like the seller's guide to try and capture seller's leads. Yep. We have a buyer's guide as well. We have a moving guide. Like there's so many guides in here. So
let me show them the other guide, the moving guide.
Wait, don't leave out that Oh, never mind.
I can go back. What?
Okay. I wanted you to show them the buyer certificates. And when your buyers are out at an open house, you should give them that certificate that it basically is like, I'm married. I love it.
So when we talk about the webinar coming up about how to work with buyers and get buyer agency agreement, what you give the buyers is this certificate. So I'm currently working with an agent as their buyer's client. So in other words, you can, once a buyer hires you, they sign the buyer agency agreement, you give them this certificate. And so now if they go out on their own and they go to a public open house with another agent, when they walk into the open house saying, I was just driving the area, but I'm working with an agent. Here's I'm supposed to give you this certificate. So now it's almost like when a married guy or gal is at a bar and they feel like somebody's going to approach them, they say, no, listen, I'm good. I can't talk to you.
I'm taking.
But I'm taken. But what's good about this is every time the buyer hands them that, the buyer is committing to you. That's the real power of that. Anyway, so we talk about that in the webinar. I want to show you that what I'm proud of. You see, because I alluded to, my childhood was not good. I have a soft spot for, children who are struggling, right? So we have our own in-house charity called America's Hope for America's Children. It's to help children dealing with emotional challenges, not physical. And so we try and do whatever we can for kids. And so one of the things I learned in writing my third book, How to Design a Life Worth Smiling About, is that children who are moving go through a lot of emotional challenges, and they are not able to articulate it because they're children. And so what we did is we created this moving guide for kids, and I'm trying to find it, and I may have passed it. And it's to show a homeowner who has children how to make the experience for the kids a positive one. Because it's the worst thing for a child is to have insecurity of relationships, their parents, where they live, their friends, if there's bickering with a fellow friend. So anyway, it's really important that children feel safe, is my point. So when you're going to move them from their home, it can, it'd be a challenge for them. So we created this easy move guide to make it a fun experience to give to kids. Now it's still loading and it'll be open in 20 seconds. But what I suggest you do is if you go on a listing appointment and they have children, that this be an icebreaker that you give to the homeowners and say, listen, I have this was written by somebody, or my coach, or I have it, or however you want to present it. And say, for children, sometimes it could be a challenge in making a move. So I just want to give this a go because you told me you have kids and da, da, da. So, they say the best way to a man's heart is through the stomach, that old saying, but the best way to a parent's heart is through their children. And it goes through examples. So 8 ways to get kids excited about a move. And it goes through each one. Make a family fun list, house hunt together, let them map out their new room, like color it and pack a treasure box, throw a goodbye party, tour your old favorites about neighborhood spots and say goodbye, have some closure, create a memory book, say goodbye to your home. And that's it. So anyway, we created that, and we encourage power agents to use this for children just because of our commitment to children. So
I love the kids, making the kids the partner where you give them little prizes. I love that. So that's pretty cool. There's lots of stuff in there for kids.
Yeah, there's something else that Julie just said, which is really awesome too, about the kids can be like a fellow realtor helping prepare the house every time there's a showing. So that way they're actually engaged, and there's an actual certificate with coupons, and the kids, if they clean up their room, they get a coupon, and they get coupons you trade it in for ice cream or a toy. And anyway, that's something else too. Yeah.
I love it. Edgar wants to know, is the Power Agent logo on everything? I ask so this way we can try and personally brand it. That's a great question, Edgar.
Yeah, so there's a lot that I can answer on that. Number one is you don't have to use the Power logo if you don't want to. So we have it on everything because that's our brand and we want, right? But if you don't want to call yourself a Power Agent, or you don't want the Power logo, or you can take it off, right? So that's the first thing. If you do want to signify yourself as a Power Agent, if you go to Power Agent Purpose, it'll give you several ideas on how to use the brand. Why the logo? There's an explanation of the logo, which is, I'll explain in a minute, but there is a reason for this logo, and I'll tell you what that is in just a minute. These are some of our top Power Agents, our Hall of Famers, so we've got that. And there's a code of ethics that we have that I'll tell you. There's a signature. What is a Power Agent? So basically a Power Agent, Here's a sample signature line. A power agent is a member of an exclusive group of dedicated professionals. Less than 1% of agents across North America committed helping buyers and sellers get to their next level in life. So I think it will distinguish you. And one of the ways, the analogies you can use, say, Mr. and Mrs. Hanahana, in accounting, you have accountants and then you have CPAs. If it didn't cost you any more money, which would you choose, a regular accountant or a CPA? And they'd say, well, a CPA. You say, well, a power agent is essentially that. They're like the CPA of realtors. So that's how I would present being a power agent. The code of ethics, I'm really proud of this because you can download the code of ethics. I'll open that up just to show you one thing, because this is factual, what I'm going to tell you. And I know most of you, what I'm about to share, you don't know this. And that's why I'm happy to share it with you. And of course, it's taking a while to load. So we'll let that continue. And while it's continuing, let me just go back to that power agent purpose. So you can, let me explain the logo. The reason for that logo, is, let me go back, is if you look at the logo, it looks like a P. There's a P in that logo, and there's also an A for power agent. It also looks like a house, a roof, and there's a circle around the roof. And that's to suggest that power agents help, they encircle, they're part of, they support and nurture the whole transaction for both buyers and sellers from beginning to end. And the last thing is, anybody who's a Trekkie is they can see a little bit of a Star Trek logo in there. And that's because I love Star Trek, but it's also, we're about living from the future of what's possible in your career. And so that's why. So that's the whole meaning behind the Power Agent logo. And the one thing I want to show you on our code of ethics, Article 1 is integrity. In the first published Webster's Dictionary of 1828, one of the definitions of integrity read, the entire unimpaired state of anything, particularly of the mind, moral soundness and purity, incorruptness, uprightness, honesty. Integrity comprehends the whole moral character, but has a special reference to the uprightness and mutual dealings of transfer of property and agency for others. So in other words, ladies and gents, the first definition published in Webster's Dictionary was our industry. And so a lot of our culture here, and what we hope to convey to power agents as well, is to be your word, to never say anything that is even the slightest out of integrity. And that's it, because who you are is your word. And so it goes on. Next question, Julie.
I love it. Ashley says, I'm an independent broker building a team, and that can be very lonely. The Power Agent family support and Darryl's messages move me every day. I feel so loved here. Thank you, Ashley. That made our whole team smile. I appreciate that. Marvis said, I joined before. I left for another program. I came back because Darryl is the real deal and doesn't have any of that pushy attitude. And I love it. Yeah. Thank you, Marvis. I appreciate that. That's so cool. Liz wants to know, how do we pull Zillow expireds?
So if somebody, well, that's a good question. So if somebody was only Zillow, right? So if they were with a realtor on MLS, obviously you would find it that way through your MLS. So the second group of Zillow leads would be the Fsbo. And that's where RedX comes in. So if somebody was ever a Fsbo, RedX probably has that. So next question.
What if I can't make Monday's call?
We record the calls, and and when you go to coaching calls, the recordings will be there for you. And so that's it. So now here's what happens. If you email us a question in advance, like I said, it's like a Disney Fast Pass. If you email the question, that puts you at the top of the queue. After I do my opening of that, because we make announcements usually into then I'll go to those emailed questions. And if you're not on the call, I'll read your question, I'll coach you, and you'll be able to hear it later on. So
perfect. And there's several ways you can attend the coaching calls, right? So we stream it live. If you're more of a visual person, we stream it live on Facebook, so you can watch the video. If you are a listen and learn person, you can listen to them, as Darryl just showed in the coaching call tab. You can call in if you want to ask your questions live. If you go on Facebook, you can type in your questions. We'll ask them for you. So there's lots of opportunities for you to get coaching. And as Darryl said, it's not an hour long. We stay until we're done, until all the questions are exhausted. Oh, you just showed that too, the tech training. That's good.
And by the way, some people are seeing a lot of Inman articles because they've hired us to be weekly contributors now. And so unfortunately, Inman is a subscription based thing. So I'm just talking to the power agents. I know some power agents are like, I want to read that article, but I can't. And boy, that's not the same shirt. Okay, good. I was like, oh my gosh, this was the last webinar that we did, not webinar, but the coaching call. And that's what Julie was talking about. The coaching calls, you can use your phone. You can watch on Facebook, participate on Facebook, listening, because we stream the call. But you'll notice there's 118 comments. So power agents are actually, during the coaching call, watching on Facebook as well, and they're commenting and there's brainstorming. So these coaching calls on Monday are just explosive because they're 2 hours or more. The other power agents are contributing ideas, the questions. It's really quite exciting. So next question.
Even in that group, they're sharing. We're seeing so much people sharing. Okay, this is what I'm using as a smile stop. This is what I'm doing. This is the mailing I just did. I just got a result from this letter. I just, that kind of thing. So it's awesome because agents are sharing. Here's what I'm doing. Here's working. This, like Shelly, right? And it's crazy because even like the smile stops, that brings so much joy. It's not just about the results, right? Of course, we want to get results and we want to get more listings. And we want to get referrals. When you make those smile stops and the agents, they get so excited, our members, because they put together, 5 or 10 or 20 or whatever, and they go to their past clients' houses and they drop these things off. And it is about developing that relationship, right? But the joy that they get from that is extraordinary, and it gives them a bump in. Darryl, you talk about a smile dose all the time. It really gives them a bump in. Oh, I'm doing the right thing. I'm in the right place. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm connecting with people. So it gives you that boost in serotonin and all those cool.
Yeah, well, here's the bottom line of what Julie is saying is that when you are having fun doing what you do, is it puts a smile on your face, man, oh man, you're just more effective. You have more joy, and it comes through in your beingness because, again, people list with people. So if you don't love your business or you're not having fun, people pick up on that as well. Julie said something that triggered me this thought, which is we have last call that we had about 150 power agents. It's a brainstorming session. And we used to do these quarterly, and because they're so awesome, like I read this one, and when I read this one, because I was going through looking for some content for something, and I was like, damn, this is so awesome. Why are we doing this quarterly? We should do it monthly. So we added this monthly. It started this month. This is one of the brainstorming calls. We summarize the call and put it into this guide, right? So you can watch the brainstorming. But the thing is, power agents bring what tools that they're using, and then we put it into this PDF, and with links to the actual websites of things. But this is just all the ideas that came from the last coaching call, actually 2 coaching calls ago. Sorry, brainstorming. And we're still finishing up the one we just did a few days ago.
Shelly actually just gave us the bones of the new one. Do you know how many ideas came out of it?
I just looked at, no, how many?
60.
60 ideas.
So we're creating that PDF now, but 60 awesome ideas from our power agents.
Now, listen, if you're a power agent, I'm going to encourage you, somebody said that these brainstorming calls are worth the $47 a month. So we give you, if one idea from this course generates a listing or a sale, you know what? How much is that in your market? 4,000, 10,000, 15,000. I tell you, you should get one deal a month just from everything that we have. But the thing is, just do one. Don't get overwhelmed. Feel like you have to do everything. It's not a training program. This is a coaching family where it helps transform the way you look at what you do in such a powerful, nurturing, fun way that you will generate more business. So Pick what works for you. Do one thing a month from the Power Program, and you are kick ass. Next
Exactly.
question,
Like
Julie.
if you, it's one takeout burger, to try it for 30 days, and what it does for your business in return for that is just extraordinary.
Now, Julie, I want to make sure I want to try because some people want to stay, but they wanted it to end as well. So I want to make sure that we put a pin on this.
Yep.
Is there any other pressing questions we need? Go ahead.
I can't say her name. I'm so sorry. What is the Box Brownie website? Is there a separate fee monthly? So we have lots of, in the Tech Tools and Training, we have lots of vendor partners. Do you want to answer that, Darryl?
Yeah. So in the Power Program, we have negotiated prices for you on certain things that we love, right? So Box Brownie is one of those companies. And what Box Brownie does is, let me see if I just go to it. Box Brownie, they will take photos. Oh, and this is a teacher moment, so stay with me. What Box Brownie does is it takes photos like this and turns it into that. But they can do a lot more. They can do virtual staging. They can remove items. They can do 3D, floor plans. They can do all this stuff. So Power Agents, we negotiated a discount for you guys or a coupon. But this is what I want to tell you. This is an example on how you can show a homeowner what you have that they don't have when they're a Fsbo. Now, you don't tell them we have Box Brownie. What you tell them is you give them examples of this picture and this picture. And you say, one of the things that we have, Mr. and Mrs. Hanahana, was we have technology in our company that we use exclusively to help homeowners visually present their house in the best possible light. And then you can show them the 3D. You can show them floor plans. Do you know floor plans? By the way, this is another teacher moment here for you. Do you know buyers that the survey done saying that floor plans was one of the most important things for them to see on the MLS and in online when they're looking at all those photos? Now watch this. Go to Realtor.com in your market and look at all the homes for sale and flip through them and see how many houses have three floor plans. You'll probably find hardly any. And it's so important.
Game changer, man.
It's a game changer. I'm going to tell you from personal. My wife and I, we were just thinking about selling and moving, and we decided to stay and improve. But we were out there during the summer looking every weekend. And I'm telling you from personal level, if I had a floor plan, man, that would have made so much difference on each one of the houses that we looked at. There's something about a floor plan for a buyer. They can see the house better than actual photos because the photos is just this, whereas the floor plan, you get the whole sense of the home. Anyway, next question.
I love it. Where do we find the summarized brainstorming material? Great question, Nancy. The new one we're still working on, but it's coming soon. It's actually in production.
Yeah. So when you go to where it will be is in it's a
Darryl's
couple
top picks. It's always going to be in Darryl's top picks.
Power Agents brainstorming session. There is, and we sort these by the session. So session 1, blah, blah, blah. So now we're going to be doing once a month, but this is the one that we just did last week. But the book is not there because we're still editing. Because what we have to do, by the way, funny thing is, I told everybody to wave to the camera, and for some reason, it looks like people are it's a paparazzi. It's like, don't take my picture. So, anyway, by the way, don't use virtual backdrops. They never come out right. And we're finishing up, but we're going to put the book here. Next question, Julie.
And we actually email those out to you guys. So when we have a new tool in the classroom, like Darryl said earlier, I don't know, 100 years ago, we actually mail you training emails several times a week. And so when we have new things come out that are vital like that, we actually are going to email them out to you with the direct link. We're going to tell you in the Facebook group how to find it. We're going to talk about it on the coaching call. So you're never not without resources. We're telling you. That's funny. We're gonna hand deliver a lot of the new tools to you, right? So
let's go to the next question, Jules.
I think that's it.
Okay. So listen, that means we're going to end this webinar right now. So gang, what I'm going to encourage you to do is click on that I want to get you guys a copy of the slides, right? So what I want you to do is click on that. If you're not a power agent now, we're ending the webinar. That's going to float away. Go there, sign up. It's $5. Get to know us. If you don't like us, you can cancel. If you don't think we're going to help you, cancel. But at least for the $5, get everything on the screen. Especially, you're going to get a copy of those slides. And I really want you to have those slides, gang, because we need to convey to buyers that for the buyer conversation, rates are going up and prices are not coming down. Actually, prices are going to continue to go up. For sellers, we need to tell them to list now before the April price reduction. And of course, for you guys, you're going to see an increase of listings over the next several months. So I want you to get a copy of that stuff as well. All right. Thanks for being here. Listen, more importantly, thanks for spending your time with us. We respect and honor your time, and thank you for being so wonderful and dealing with our tech challenges in the beginning and staying with us. The last thing I want to leave you with is just for you to remember this. We don't just list and sell real estate. What we do is we help people get to their next level in life. And I'm just going to switch over just to my camera. So what you and I do is we don't just list and sell, right? We help people get to their next level in their life. What we do is actually change people's lives. And we have chosen real estate as a tool to make a difference in people's lives. The money that you make is merely a gauge as to how many lives you've touched. So just go out there and make a difference in people's lives, and the money will follow. Thanks again for being here. Stay safe, stay focused, and don't forget to keep smiling. Bye, everybody.